Bam, dude. Look at this. I traded the greenhouse for a Miami backyard, bro.
That's a good setup. The lighting's good. I can hear you real well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, dude. So fired up the YouTube channel. Got to pump out some content, which is like borderline nauseating. Just the idea of it. It's like it's a weird thing because you're like everyone's fucking making content. It's how you network and socialize, and like I've just had this like real deep inward journey around like why is it I have this like discomfort around like putting shit out there. I think because a lot of it is like hubris and everybody's trying to clickbait you into their video. It's like I don't know. It's just this competition for attention. And I don't want to play that game, dude.
Dude, honestly, I think that it's the same kind of eerie feeling you get when you use fiat currency or involved in fiat business. It's also there when you're interacting with these legacy media sites because their algos are in the background and they've got like a boardroom full of psychologists working on how to manipulate people. And
Yeah.
like, you can kind of feel it, you know, it's not super obvious, but it's there.
Yeah, dude, the last so my little boy is like, I don't know, a couple days away from being 7 months old. And so I've been able to get shit done really over the last like 8-9 months, helping my wife towards the end of her pregnancy. And then with the newborn, I got my 4-year-old. And so I don't have to be doing anything right now. Like I would like to be. I'm pretty motivated to like, make some shit happen. But timing wise, it's a good time for me to like be available for the family. But what's been interesting is I can't maintain focus on any sort of particular task at all for any long duration of time. So I have found myself in this limbo state, dude. This like, it's like a purgatory kind of where like I can't get anything done, but like at the same time, what I'm doing is the most important thing for me to be doing at the moment. So I've been like getting stuck scrolling. And in the last couple of months, I've found myself in the scrolling loop. And I'm like, I can feel, I'm like, cognitively combating the erosion of my attention span, and I can like notice it. The other day, dude, I was like chatting with my wife. I'm like, fuck. And of course, I don't want to tell her, right? She's gonna give me shit. Like, oh yeah, I see you scrolling over there. Our daughter's calling your name and you're zombied out scrolling, which doesn't happen very often. But of course, it's like a guilty feeling. But I was telling her, I was like, fuck, I've been noticing that, like, I keep getting sucked into these, like, little doom scrolls on Twitter, dude. It's not good. And it's like, so I've been shooting a bunch of guns. So I'm following gun shit, dude. And now I'm getting war scenes out of Ukraine, which is interesting. But, you watch one and it's like a combat scene in the trenches. And then the algorithm starts feeding you more and more of those. I'm like, fuck, I don't need to be watching this shit. But you know what I have been watching that's totally random that I fucking thoroughly enjoy, dude? Is these predator catchers, dude. Have you seen? You're not on normal.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen one of the original guys. There's like a documentary about him. I think he was in Canada. And as I was watching it, I was kind of like cheering him on. And then the more I watched it, I was like, wait, this guy's actually really disturbed himself. Like he was like even getting on the phone and imitating like the voices of children to like these guys. And I was like, and like saying sexual stuff to them, and I was like, dude, tell me he doesn't have a hard on right now while he's doing this.
I know.
It's like
it's
being that activated by something is like is a indicator itself, It's like how they do the studies on people who are super homophobic and they like get hard ons when they see gay porn. It's like the same thing.
Oh, what's the fucking famous American Beauty, dude?
I haven't seen that forever. Yeah, it's like
the Kevin Spacey,
gay, right?
The neighbor thinks he's gay and tries to come kiss him, and then I think he kills him in the end, dude.
I gotta watch that again. I remember it being really good the first time I watched it, and then it was right around the time I started smoking pot. I watched it again, and it blew my mind all over again because I just could like see through Kevin Spacey's eyes, not the person, the actor in the role. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like really good.
Yeah, but the predator catchers, dude, that one has been interesting. And then you're just like, fuck, it really kind of puts it into perspective a little bit. You're like, wait, okay. Fucking any random motherfucker who you would never expect could be trying to touch a child, dude.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's weird stuff happening online too. Like, family friend of mine, like went into her daughter's room, and her daughter was like secretly taking pictures under her sheets. And then it turns out that this girl was sending these pictures to somebody. I can't remember how old she was at the time, but like 12, maybe 13, is sending these pictures to somebody she talked to on Facebook. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they don't even have to have physical access. They just need to be online or whatever. And I don't know, have you listened to any of the new stuff that Start9's coming out with?
No.
Take this in a positive direction. So Start9 is working on, I mean, they have been working towards like a sovereign smart home hub that's not just a Bitcoin node, but it's also like a host for a local LLM and all this stuff. And it talks about, Matt Hill was talking about using different passwords for your Wi-Fi to give people different access privileges on your Wi-Fi, right? So if it's your kids, you give them one password. If it's your friends, you give them another one, and then you use the admin password. And through that, you can decide what access is granted to any given access point. And so you can say, okay, well, this person can access XYZ this many hours per day. This person, if you see any packets going through that are like pornographic or whatever, then you like stop that, for example. And like the way that this stuff can get screened can get really granulated in a good way, I think. I mean, I have like and I don't know how you think about it. You're a parent already. Like I think about what access I would give. Like I wouldn't want to raise a kid super sheltered, but obviously I wouldn't want them to see like gore.com and stuff I saw when I was in middle school, you know, and like weird, terrible things on the internet, which is like funny in a way, but also traumatic, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're not at that point yet, I guess, but.
Well, kind of. I mean, so we have an iPad, and when we were traveling, you know, my daughter, 2.5, 3 years old, we did a lot of traveling, and we would let her watch the iPad on the plane, but it was just to not have a fucking blowout, right? Like, all right, you can watch this show. And so the iPad's been a tool. We've been really, really good about making sure we don't lean on it too much. But she's gotten really good at using the iPad. And so about 6 months ago, I got, you know, an iPad. It's my Apple account. It's got all my apps on it. And I was like, all right, she could use it. Well, it didn't take very long, dude, until she's going through every app on the thing. She's in Amazon shopping for toys and shit. Like, she came up to me like a couple weeks ago, and she's like, hey, I want this, whatever, number block toy set. I'm like, you're fucking cruising through Amazon.
It's already in your
shopping. No, she hasn't got there yet, dude. Nothing in the cart. But it is just, yeah, it's incredible the rate in which they grow. And so I've been grappling a little bit with that. It's, you know, my wife is much better about, of course, like we're at the playground or something's happening and like, I'm like, oh, fuck, make sure she doesn't get hurt. She's like, no, she's okay. She's all right. You know, I'm like, fuck, it just like makes me sick to my stomach. You know, so last night, as an example, she's running down the hallway. I got my little boy, dude, and I'm like holding him all crazy and weird, and she's barreling down the hallway. So I kind of put my foot up like, uh-oh, here she comes. And she trips on my foot and drives her face right into my knee. Crack. Dude. And my fucking, dude, time stops. You know, like when people say like, oh, I got into a car accident and like time slowed down. It's like time slowed down and I could hear like could feel her body filling up with air 'cause she's about to scream. And my wife's in the bathroom and we had already had like, it had been intense. We're trying to go to bed. She's screaming. My little boy's screaming. It's like, all right, let's just wrap this program up. Fucking A, dude. And my wife, I could hear, she starts to be like, what is happening? And I was like, she's injured. And I fucking bring her in. I give her to my wife. And I fucking walk down the hallway. And I'm like, oh, I can feel like I'm getting hot, you know, and nauseous, like that knot you get in your stomach, dude. And I like walk out of the room and she screams, ah! And I'm like, oh, fuck. I walk outside and I'm like, think I got to get involved here. Like she could be bleeding from the mouth or like what's happening, you know? Because she hit me hard. And so I walk back in, my wife's holding her, the lights are down. Of course, we got like we run red lights through the house. So at like near sundown, we turn all the lights off and we put the red lights on. And like we got LED strips in the corners and whatever. So there's just red lights everywhere. So low ambient, very red, no blue light. And I'm like,
your foot, dude?
Maybe possibly. Well, she was also red, you know, therefore she was fucking, I'm coming in. And, So I'm like, this is serious. I'm trying to figure out, is she got a dude, I'm convinced like she's going to have a fucking bloody lip and whatever, right? The lights are fucking on, and I can't, I'm like, Lacey, you got to turn, can you please turn the lights on? And she doesn't want to do that because we're going to blast blue light into the room and kind of, she's thinking it's going to disrupt our children's ability to fall asleep right now. Of course, she's fucking tired. And like, of course, my kid's okay. Her mouth wasn't. She hit her tooth, and she's like, it feels stuck. And then I'm like, oh, I'm on ChatGPT. Like, what happens? She's like, oh yeah, you can bruise a ligament. It's probably okay. Check for these things, whatever. But it's just like, it's an interesting thing because they need to get hurt. They need to know. You fuck around, you find out. Yeah, but it's such a challenging thing to like let them get hurt in a controlled manner, I suppose, and like, I don't know, because it's just that gut-wrenching feeling. You're like, the last thing I want is them to feel pain. But then there's those other times where she's just screaming in my face and I want to smack her, right? So it's just this oscillation of like, God, I don't want anything to happen to you. I'd beat the shit out of you right now if you don't shut up.
I hear that
it's such a...
Every parent,
oh, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is such a fucking interesting thing. And then my wife, you know, where, you know, she's going down all sorts of little rabbit holes that benefit her and her experience in life. And, you know, sometimes we talk about like our childhood traumas, and she sees posts, and she's fucking smart. I love her. Obviously, I'm married, I have kids with her and shit. And so you know, she comes to me one day and she's talking about, oh yeah, you know, your childhood trauma is like the trigger that your children brings out in you, right? So like if you're dysregulated, you had stressful environment, you disassociated, your nervous system like downloaded whatever it signals, and
yeah,
you know, so when you have kids, like that same thing comes out in you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so we talk about it a lot. I'm like, I don't know if this is like our childhood trauma resurfacing or if this is just a child being annoying as fuck right now. You know, like that happens. We need to remember, just because she's screaming in our face and it makes us fucking, it's maddening, doesn't necessarily mean that's like scratching on some old wound, right? But so it's just such a dynamic thing. It's really a fucking, it's a trip. So I've had a lot of fun being able to like be super present with the family. But yeah, the pain thing, dude, like letting them, they have to be able to explore the world, but you have to have guardrails. And then of course, like I think as a father, especially with daughters, you like really want to have that like relationship with them where they come to you for everything and they want the comfort from you. But another part of it for me too is they're kids. That mom's the comfort, dad's the fun, right? And so like I find myself getting like a little bummed. I'm like, oh, she won't let me comfort her right now. She's crying. I want to pick her up and hold her. She needs mom, dude. Yeah, it's a trip, dude. That and the societal things, dude. Like, fuck. Speaking of like old stuff you don't remember, my daughter asked me weeks ago, a couple months ago, we were driving to the farmer's market. I go and buy meat and raw milk. It's like this farmer's market. It's really nice. And she's like, put on rock and roll music, Dad. I'm like, rock and roll music? All right, well, and I don't listen to music almost ever. My wife puts on music. I don't know what it is. It's cool. It's new agey, beady, positive lyrics. If there's any lyrics, I don't know. It's fucking good stuff. It sounds good, right? And so I go through my Apple, my iTunes or fucking iMusic, whatever they call it now. I'm in my iMusic app, which has like a massive MP3 collection from like 20 years ago. You know, like 25 to 20 years ago. Back in the day, you know, you go to your buddy's house, you'd be like, oh, let me get your music. And you just swap hard drives and download everybody's shit, right?
Yeah, dude.
And so I'm going through all of my old jams, dude. And I'm thinking about like, fuck, dude, Beck comes on. I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me? Green Day, like, fuck, he's talking about being neurotic and all alone. And dude, we went through an hour and a half of songs. And of course I put it on and my daughter's like, oh, I want to listen to that. I'm like, no, I don't want you to listen to these lyrics. And I started to go down memory lane of like all the music that used to be on, like, so I was in Southern California, K-Rock, K-R-O-Q.
Yeah. K-R-O-Q.
Boom.
K-Rock, fucking Korn, Limp
all of it.
Rage Against the Machine.
Yes,
dude.
dude.
I used to listen to K-Rock every morning.
I fucking loved it. But the thing that really stood out for me is the lyrics, the messaging.
So negative, dude.
It's
Linkin
all
Park, kidding me?
Dude, it's
Linkin
so
Park is suicide music, dude. Literally.
It's so bad, dude. I'm like, no wonder we all are
Radiohead.
fucked.
Dude, Radiohead is the most depressing shit. I used to enjoy it.
Oh my god, I had this
wallow.
hot girlfriend that loved Radiohead. We'd listen to Radiohead and fuck when we were young, dude.
The hot girlfriend, the used, dude. Well,
God, dude. And
the title of the band says it all. You don't need to know anything else.
I know, dude. That is so funny. And yeah, so I was just thinking like kind of deeply about that. Like, man, the negative effect that really has on your subconscious. Like people who grew up listening to that stuff all day long. And then like, you know, it's our generation, dude. We grew up watching Friends, Seinfeld, Sex and the City. And we wonder why we have a fucking simp and whore epidemic, dude. So speaking of like
neurotic as fuck, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, dude,
that behavior too. I mean, I was watching that '70s show, so like I turned into something between Eric and Hyde, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah, it's like Ross just simping over fucking Rachel while she fucks all these random dudes for a decade, dude.
Luckily, but
no, my parents would. My mom and stepdad would watch it in Seinfeld, so it was like on. It was that and Star Trek and like. But it is interesting the way that this stuff burns into your mind. A good example of that too. This was last night. I got this frozen beef bacon. I don't know where my wife got it from. It's been in the freezer for a while. It's fucking good. I never made beef bacon before until like a year ago, right? So, product of the farmer's market we go to, and like, we're making some food. I'm like, let's make this beef bacon. And the beef bacon, the way that it, like the color, the texture, the ripple, whatever, it reminds me of the scene. The first time I made the beef bacon, it reminds me of a scene of Dances with Wolves, where like this disheveled fucking white guy is like at his little campfire and he's like cooking some meat and he slurps down this piece of meat right before the natives pluck him with an arrow and then scalp him, right? And like he's disheveled the way he like sucks this thing in. The first time I saw the beef bacon, that pops into my head. And like, and then I'm thinking like, dang, I remember growing up and like having, hearing like, be careful what you see because it'll kind of like get burned into your memory. But now I'm like grappling with that more, right? And then I'm thinking about my daughter. Like we turn on the TV every once in a while and the Samsung Smart Hub will go to the Samsung TV thing and then bring up some fucking daytime television murder series or some shit. We're like trying to change it real quick.
Yeah, dude. I one time I turned on a TV. I don't watch TV ever, but I turned on a TV one time somewhere in a hotel or something. The first thing I see, this is on Fox. It was somebody getting shot directly in the forehead. You see the bullet go in and you see the bloody hole. Then the next scene is dollars falling from the air and women dancing in bikinis. And I was like,
fuck, dude.
I was like, I know that speaks to like a very deep aspect of human nature somehow, but it's not a good part. It's not part that we need to be, reinforcing continuously on a 24-hour loop. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so like, what do you do about that? I guess you have guardrails, you have systems like you're talking about with Start 9. That's good, and then I'm like a freedom maximalist, I guess you could say. I think you should be able to like do this stuff, but there needs to be like containers and boundaries and guardrails. It's just it's such a complex thing. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like there was a time in my life where I really enjoyed black metal, thrash metal, death metal, gangster rap, all that shit.
Yeah.
I was into all that shit. And then at some point I intentionally, even though I was still enjoying it, like I was still kind of engrossed in the vibe, I decided I'm going to stop listening to this. And like I was at the gym yesterday and I put on a rap album that I used to listen to. And it was one of the better ones. It was Pete Rock and I saw somebody post it on Nostr recently. I was like, oh, this is a good album. So I listened to some of it. Some of it was really positive. Some of it was more negative. But like I couldn't go back and listen to like Brother Lynch Hung or like any of that shit.
I used to listen to that when I was 18, dude.
Right, dude. I mean, it's
X-rated, like, Brother Lynch and X-rated, dude.
Yeah, it's the worst. Necro, dude. That stuff is terrible.
So bad, dude.
And it's like entertaining, but I had to make a conscious choice to step out of it. It wasn't like with Radiohead where I just like all of a sudden I realized it was terrible.
Yeah. What do you think like if we grew up in a time and place where culturally people, I guess I kind of, after working with Robert for a long time, I think he's done a really, really good job just distilling what's happening in the world down to like the fundamental issue with like human action and Austrian economics and like and private property. And so if we had a society where people weren't so strapped, would there be like a cultural buffer against this stuff, right? Because you can't force it through like totalitarian ways, right? Like, so growing up, so I think about it, like when I was 30 years old, probably 28 and 29, 30 years old, I started to grapple with like the idea of vibrational frequency, vibration, energy, and frequency. I heard someone say, I think it was Teal Swan. Someone showed me a Teal Swan video, and she's talking about, the law of attraction. She's like, it's just simply your vibrational frequencies being mirrored to you in the world around you. So I started to think more about that, and then, vibrations. And of course, at the time I was cultivating cannabis. I had one little facility in my garage. I was just bugging out hardcore, and like, how do I grow better plants and fucking succeed in life, basically.
Best weed I've ever smoked in the United States.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think it has. So this is actually, I'll tie something else in. So thinking about the energy and the vibration and whatever, so that started to like open me up to like, okay, well, fuck, maybe this dark stuff is definitely like has second and third order negative effects that we're not directly conscious or aware of, or societally or culturally we don't talk about or whatever. And so that kind of like created a path. And then so I was listening to, I don't know, some cultivator said that he used to play Bach or Mozart for his plants. And so I started to do that. Then I got a buddy who is a neurotic, interesting individual, very good friend of mine. I love this guy to death. But he listens to, it's like death metal, like hardcore. I call it like Viking death metal because it's got that like Norwegian vibe to it.
Hell yeah.
And like this guy's weed is fantastic. It looks phenomenal. But for whatever reason, when his stuff goes to like, be shown to buyers, it doesn't sell that well. And so like, and then I started to think like, is there something there? Is there like an energy thing there? The guy's really angry. So what he does, he listens to death metal while he gardens, and he like punches this. He's got this punching door. He fucking replaces every year or two. So he can punch holes when he gets all mad at it. And I'm like, dang, just picturing this guy like cultivating these plants all angrily while he's fucking listening to heavy metal. So what kind of effect does that have? And I think we live in a world, this Newtonian, narrative, whatever has happened with education, science, physics, it's kind of been corrupted somewhat by fiat currency. Like, would people just be so healthy and conscious that we wouldn't be attracted to those kinds of things, and you wouldn't have to like have a start night and fucking router, fucking Wi-Fi setting to prevent people from getting into these evil places or sick
maybe
places.
Yeah. Actually, that's really a good question, because it's like I'm writing this book right now. I'm getting to the part where I'm getting into the practical application. And the way I see it is like, yeah, vibration, frequency, energy, that's the base layer of everything. And that's where we find truth, right? But in order to like reach those depths, in order to attune ourselves to that spiritual ability, we need to create certain conditions where we can feel safe and nourished and like in natural environments and less stimulated. Because as you start to open up your potential into these higher states of consciousness, you can't be around stuff that's going to throw you this way and that way all the time. And so like, I think that it's probably like the next generation or two where we're really going to see this blossoming of consciousness. And it's up to us to create a safe context for them to live in this chaotic world. Because it's like you're protecting a flower, all about this, protecting a flower from the elements that are outside. You're like, okay, this flower like needs to remain untarnished. Like it needs to just be as natural as it possibly can be without me imposing upon it too much. Because the world that we are creating right now is tremendously flawed because of what we are doing and have done in the past. Their generation doesn't know that. It's like, and like, obviously that innocence is very important to protect. It needs to be balanced with a certain dose of reality, right? It's like exactly what we were talking about earlier with allowing them to kind of FAFO, but yeah, it's a balance that every individual has to find. It's not easy.
Yeah. Well, I think you're spot on with I mean, I resonate with all of that. Spot on with the environmental, like the environment you're in. So for me, like my wife and I have been talking a lot about, nervous system regulation. And it really started like 5 years ago with us like identifying like, hey, babe, I think you're getting really dysregulated right now. Like we were having disputes, like little blowouts. And I'm much more capable of remaining composed and like working it out. But what I do, and this is counterproductive, I get really, because of course, like I'm fucking like I'm ready to like it's intense, but I get really calm. I get really like
yeah, right.
But so it's cold, it's detached. It's it's created this thing where like what I'm doing is like further festering or this wound or thing that she's dealing with, and then her response is further exacerbating my thing. So there's a wedge between the two of us.
Yeah, that's classic anxious avoidant. I mean that dynamic plays out in every relationship to some degree.
Yeah. So we've evolved it really, like we've made tremendous progress, but there was a period of time where it was like, all right, we can't get. I used to describe it as like I'm trying to have this resolution, this conversational journey together, this exploration of exchange of information, experiences, or whatever, and like it's like a mile long, and I'm like, but sweetheart, we're only getting like a quarter of a mile in. And then we're like running, you're not capable of maintaining enough composure, which was, I guess, supposed like somewhat mild gaslighting, because I bet if I was like really warm and endearing and sweet, she'd be like open and like down for whatever.
Maybe.
But like, so we both really spent some time, and we've kind of come to that place where it's like, all right, well, we're both clearly not doing things that are working here, and we're making it further and further and further. And so then the idea of regulating the nervous system, of course, she's telling me for years, and I still haven't developed the practice of it. She's like, dude, you have to do breath work and meditate. She does that from time to time. And the moment that I realized, that I was tense inside was when I did LSD for the first time like a year and a half ago, dude. I was just tight. I'm like, why am I fucking tight, dude?
Yeah.
And I think it does that. It's a vasoconstrictor. You get a little colder and tighter. Some people, I don't know, but
it does have like a tendency to cause people to clench their jaws sometime. But I think that's a reflection of what they're like. They're
not letting go of. They're holding on to something.
Yeah, something there.
Yes,
I had a similar experience. LSD raised my consciousness dramatically. I think one day I was driving. This is illegal.
Allegedly. What if you were?
Yeah, right. Right. Like in a hypothetical scenario, I was driving down the street after having microdosed many years ago, well outside the statute of limitations, and I realized like
in a rural dirt road with nobody there.
Yeah, with pads like bumpers from the bowling alley all along the side. Yeah. So then I realized, man, I'm angry. Like, what am I fucking mad about? Like, nobody's cut me off. Nothing's happening. Nothing bad happened today. I'm just mad. Like, what is that anger coming from? And me saying it out loud and just be like, dang, I'm mad.
Yeah.
It was like kind of a moment of confusion and astonishment. And then I was like, what's going on there, And I just started like, somebody gave me really good advice once. They said, if you're experiencing a really uncomfortable emotion, whether it's anxiety or fear or whatever it is, or anger, get curious about it. Like just get curious. Like, don't judge the emotion. Then you're adding on layers to like, I should be doing this better or whatever, which is like makes it way worse. And so I just got curious about my anger, and then I was like, why am I angry? Oh, it could be because I live in this like fiat matrix bullshit mess. That's part of it for sure. It's like everybody's upset and I'm upset too, but then it was like deeper layers of, okay, my soul is here during this experience, like with my parents during this time in history. And it was like, oh, it's all perfect. It's like all perfect setup for my, what was the quote I saw the other day? It was from an Eastern Orthodox priest. Let me find this. I'm going to pull it up. Somebody posted on Nostr the other day.
Dude, go ahead.
It was like every person is, oh, here it is. Okay, this is Saint Ambrose of Optina. Everyone is born at the time that is best suited for his salvation. So
Yeah.
good. That's like
Yeah.
New Age people say that all the time, you know? It's just in a
Yeah.
different lens.
Yeah, your soul's contract, you know, like you chose to be here. I think
Yeah.
if we're a fractal of source consciousness, then there's some sort of decision, and at least like flirting with the idea allows you to get out of this like victim mentality into like, okay, like this is I need the contrast. You can't have bitter. It's sweet without bitter. Like I must have chose to be here somehow, or at least at the very least you're fucking here. You could either be happy about it or pissed about it, right? So you can deduce all the way down to like, okay, well, my soul made a decision to have this life experience or whatever the quote says. And then, or you could just be like, I'm here, and it could be totally meaningless. But if I'm here, I could either be here and be pissed, or I could be here and be happy.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think like zooming out, looking at it kind of from a Buddhist standpoint, maybe, is the reason we're having the experience we're presently having is because of our own clinging and avoidance. So what are you drawn to versus what are you avoiding? If you're doing either of those, you're going to perpetuate the opposite of what you want. And so the idea is to surrender completely to what is and to simultaneously move into a better direction with intent. So yeah.
So what you're talking about, Bashar has spoke to a lot and in different words, and I've thought immensely about this because I found it to be extremely helpful for me. Is like it's his formula to having a successful and fulfilling life is act on your highest passion, and then but that requires discernment. You need to be able to discern the difference between fear and excitement, anxiety and excitement. Act on your highest passion. So that also requires you have to take action. You got to take action with zero insistence on the outcome and like a deep trust in knowing that whatever manifests itself is exactly what you need to be experiencing. And if it's unfavorable, you need to like embrace it and not resist the unfavorable circumstance and like go into it with that attitude of like, this is an opportunity. I'm learning something, like this is the way it's supposed to be. And it creates this dynamic where if you can really embody that, and I've been practicing this a lot, like in the challenging situations, I just release the resistance because it's so, you're just like, fuck this. Don't want this to be happening right now. And as soon as you accept like, all right, it's fucking happening. And I do that, and I'm good at this one. I've been doing this for a long time. I just extrapolate backwards, like being great. I play the grateful for problems game. Like, hey, I got this problem. Apparently you have to have problems in this reality, whatever this is. So if you have to have problems, I got this problem right now, and then you just stack up. Like I could have a worse problem. It could be worse and worse and worse, all the way up to like I could be dead. So you can play that game.
Oh, dead is not a problem, dude.
Well, that's probably a great relief.
Yeah, right.
Enormous orgasmic reliefs. DMT-induced orgasmic release back into the everythingness, dude.
Yeah, what was
but
it?
yeah, it's
said
yeah,
like taking off a tight shoe, which I think is probably the best analogy.
God, dude. Yeah.
But you know,
so
not to strive after it too much. Like sex is good too. So
yeah. So raising the consciousness, I've been finding places where I'm stuck, and so going back to what you said earlier about like the environment, it's hard because I think, and maybe I'm just idealistic, but wouldn't the goal be to be like, I think the ultimate goal, and this is like this blissed out state, is to be like so solid in your like happiness, yourself, your acceptance, or whatever, that like you could be in the middle of nuclear war or like right in front of 100,000 people and you're about to be decapitated and you're like, you don't clench up. You don't get that feeling. You're like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Right.
So to get there, I struggle with, there's like a gap. Like, how can you progress that way? Because what you said, I find that if I can curate the environment, I can be, I find that I want to be reclusive. I haven't been making any content. If I wasn't co-hosting with Robert, like you wouldn't have seen a post from me for the last 2.5 years or whatever, right? And so I want to be reclusive because I'm on this inner journey and I'm doing some things that I want to be present with my family. I don't want to be scrolling and replying on my phone with my daughter, even just doing the basic keeping up with life. I'm still on my phone more than I would like. And so if I'm when I have control in that tightly curated, calm environment, it's really easy to keep the vibes high. But as soon as like I like break out of that and like try to do something, then you're hit with those triggers where you're like, oh, you want to tense up or get frustrated or mad or whatever. I think most men, we get angry about things, we get fucking frustrated. And
That's
so
because
yeah, it's like a
safer than sadness, which is usually what it is. Sadness and fear is usually what's underneath.
yeah, and nobody wants to be a mark ass bitch walking around all sad and scared.
Yeah,
Instead of being world,
those emotions, dude. There's some emotions that
dude.
are just not acceptable. They're just bad.
Yeah, it's funny. So now when I see angry man, I just see sad scared little
sad
boys,
child,
dude.
Scared.
You know, we're all just sad. We have sadness and fear in varying degrees, dude. We're just little boys in men meat suits. It's so funny,
right?
Dude.
Yeah. You know what? That made me miss John Ballas. Like when you talked about reclusiveness, like I haven't heard anything from John Ballas in forever, and that dude was really deep and insightful. And love to hear from him again one day if you're listening, John. But take your time.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know what's funny? Cratter asked about him the other day. He asked, "What's he doing? Have you talked to him?" And I asked Robert about him several times over the last like year and a half. He's writing his book. I think he's got a kid, and he's.
I bet it's gonna be a banger, dude. I bet that book's gonna be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
The hodl hangs. Those were good conversations. I guess that's what I'm trying to do with this. I'll throw this onto YouTube, dude. Because I've grappled deeply with like, fuck, I need to be making content. The little bit of content I have made has definitely impacted my life very positively. It's been an uncomfortable process. Like, did I make a video running around the greenhouse, fucking talking shit? Dude, it was excruciating to like press post, right? I'm like, post it finally. And so,
right.
Yeah, so I need to be doing stuff, but like,
it took me a long time to get comfortable. The surrender of privacy.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get comfortable with that too, but it's also a fear-based thing. And I've been like struggling balancing this out for a long time, which is like, okay, privacy is important. I want everybody to have the choice to have privacy. And some people need to stand up and just say exactly what they're thinking in front of everybody with their face, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I think that both are good and important. So yeah, even though it could be putting us at risk, luckily we don't live in France.
Yeah, dude. God.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, those hodl hangs though, dude, with Valis, Kaysen, and Breedlove. Did you ever listen to any of those?
Oh, those are the best. Yeah,
those were my favorite fucking conversations.
I don't know if I listened to all of them, but I did enjoy many of them.
Yeah, those were real good. Yeah, man. So you've gone through a bit of a journey from being like an anon. You're still kind of anon, right? But then,
dude, I went on a whole roller coaster. So like, I started off with an anon on Twitter. I think I like changed the name several times or deleted the account or what. I don't remember what I did early on. And then I went out with my name and my picture. Started writing articles for Bitcoin Magazine, and then I did ayahuasca, and I had like my whole internal schizo journey for like 2 years. Lost my whole ass mind, and then during
one session.
Yeah, no, it was like a series of 4 over a week-long period.
Okay.
And there were many other pieces and components to that, but it culminated in a New Year's Eve ayahuasca ceremony. Which I've never shared in a recording, but I'm going to make another lecture series. So I've got the Holotropic Renaissance. I'm going to do another one at some point. I
haven't listened to that. I really do want to listen to that. There's been a couple times I asked you questions and you're like, oh, just listen to the thing. And I've never got to it.
It's okay. I think for you, probably some of the most interesting ones might be the crypto episode. I think that was one of the more recent ones I did. And then the later integration episode. So I did like 4 integration episodes. I've been putting out 1 episode every year. So yeah, those you might find interesting. The other ones you might find kind of basic, but it's like general advice for people who know nothing about psychedelics or spirituality, just on what helped me, you know? I mean, it's like, nice. I'm not recommending anything or telling anybody to do whatever. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, and then I was anonymous again for a while, or attempted to be anonymous, and then decided, not to do that anymore. And now I'm working with Sovereign Bitcoin Consulting. So like, I'm open on that. It's not hard to find out who I am, but I still like SourceNode. It's like good as an online NIM. And For lazy
Perfect. I love
people,
it.
it makes it a little harder for them to find me. You know what I mean? It's like only the
Yeah.
right people are gonna find me.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, and I listened to you know, we chatted had a couple conversations about BIP 110 and core and knots, and of course I just released a 4-hour rip with Crater, and so I've thought a lot about BIP 110 and the anons, and like you got guys like Vortex and fucking Wicked and some of these people that, you know, and then of course there's a bunch of like plebs that are just anons and they share whatever they're experiencing. And I'd struggle a little bit with the anon thing. It's there's that I don't know what it is, but there's something like if you're gonna, it's like show your fucking face, you know. Especially some of these, some of these guys that are like really intense. And I don't know if those individuals, I don't really know them, and fucking, I'm not trying to start any shit because they may not be anonymous. I know you can see Shinobi, there's a photo of him with his fucking mask. So I don't know, but there is an element. There are some people where like I just think, fuck, dude, you got to show your face, dude. You're gonna talk all this shit. Show your fucking face, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was probably early on, like AIM days, where I realized
Yeah.
I need to behave the same in real life that I do online. And a lot of people never learn that lesson, and I could tell by the way they act, especially on Twitter. That's why I'm not on Twitter anymore. It's just, you know. But then Nostr, there's a lot of anons, and they're anonymous for a reason. Like they're devs working on stuff that could be, you know, they might be living in a jurisdiction where they're not safe if they're, you know, and I want them to have the right to do that. You know what's really fun though? When you're at a conference and you're having a good conversation with somebody, and then you're like, so are you on Nostr? And then you're like, yeah, I'm SourceNode. And they're like, oh, you're SourceNode, dude. We've been following each other for 2 years. It's like, I'm so-and-so, whatever. And I'm like, fuck yeah, you know? That's fun. It's fun to have a bit of a separation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I met this guy. I was on a yacht a couple months back, someone's birthday party, and this dude, he was pretty cool. We're chatting, whatever, and then like X comes up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got an Anon account, and I just talk shit." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what's your Anon account?" He goes, "Then it's not a fucking Anon account, you idiot." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, good point, good point, motherfucker." And then I'm like, thinking like, "Dang, we hung out through, you know, it was a fucking 7-hour day together, the whole group." And I'm watching this guy, and then I started to just like watch him through the rest of the day. I'm like, oh, you're this like, you got this deep, angry, vitriolic little whiny bitch inside of you that needs to express itself anonymously on Twitter. Like it was interesting. I was just like watching this individual, just thinking about him, visualizing this guy hate tweeting, dude, fucking from his private account or his Anon account.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the difference between Twitter and Nostr, but for some reason, once I moved over to Nostr, I just stopped engaging with that type of discourse. So as soon as I see somebody acting like that, I just mute them and I never see them again. But on Twitter, somehow they still make their way into your feed, even if you unfollow them or block them or whatever. You still see their shit or like the consequences of their shit or something. I don't know. It just doesn't gain traction without the algo, I think is what it is. Or maybe it's the ethos of the Nostr space and the people that are on there. They just don't care about that. And like debate is kind of pointless. It's like you either write code, you act in real life, or you shut the fuck up, you know?
Yeah. Is there on Nostr, is the knots core BIP 110 thing kind of crazy like it is on X, or not really?
No, I mean there was a little bit of drama, but it would mostly happen when it spilled over from people blocking each other on X. So people would block each other on X, they'd come over and talk shit on Nostr, and then everybody on Nostr would be like, shut up with that shit, you know? I mean, it's like interesting. I definitely posted about it a lot myself, more from an intellectual curiosity standpoint. Like I was trying to just figure it out. I'm not a big camp picker tribal person. I like to look at both sides and understand that each one has some validity to their perspective, and then try to find a middle ground between the two. But of course, when it comes to node software, you're either running one or the other, so you have to choose. And so it's quite a tense situation, you know.
It is. I listened to a Twitter space, so I released that Crater episode yesterday, and I got a couple of messages. Some friends hit me up, and one of my buddies, Lauren Hoddle, who hosts this daily Bitcoin show, this Twitter space. He's been doing it for years. Every time I talk to him, he's like, "Oh man, I'm fucking tired of doing this," but he still does it. He loves it, right? But because it's a drag, he's got to do it. You know, it's like he's got another guy that helps host and whatever. And so he had Crater on and Shinobi, Wicked, and then I don't know who else was on there because I didn't see the space. I just got the auto recording and was listening to it on my phone. But I was listening to it last night, and like, fuck, dude, it's just so. The ad hominems, you're right about the core side. There was a lot more character attack. Crowder was talking about like, she's talking to Shinobi. He's like, well, and your boss David Bailey is in support of all these scam projects and blah blah blah. And then Shinobi gets all pissed. So there was like, I don't know if that's a character attack. It is factual. Yeah. Like you fucking work, and that was actually, I guess, in that point. Crowder was trying to highlight there's a conflict of interest here. And Shinobi's like, no, there's not. And it just got so blown out. It's such a trip. And so, anyways, I was talking with Lauren about it on the phone, and I'm like, it seems to me, and the core supporters are either very technical. You got this very technical side that's like, it's not an issue, lightning, whatever reasons. It's not an issue. And then you got all these plebs. You got a shitload of plebs that don't understand the technical side, like me. I barely understand the technical side at all. I can't even scratch the surface. But I understand it philosophically, like we need to keep this lean and mean and the decentralized nature and the nodes are important and mining centralization, etc. So I see these two camps. You got the plebs that are for it, and then you got the guys that are more techie that are like, Knots is unnecessary. This isn't a concern. Then it seems there's another camp on top of that. You got guys that are trying to make a shitload of money and guys that are trying to keep their money.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so if you're trying to make a shitload of money, you want all this functionality. But if you're trying to keep your money, you're like, don't fuck this thing up, please. And so am I missing something in that thought process there? I think Crater's a great example of somebody who's just like, no, I want to keep my money, don't wreck this thing. Yeah. And actually, I have this position and I have developed the understanding that this is going to change the world, and so I can't go back.
Right.
So like, don't fuck this up. And then you got guys that are just like, oh, well, you can do all this stuff. And like, I was listening to the debate, the Twitter space debate, and it's like, who's to say what Bitcoin gets used for? And then they were talking about someone made a...
users.
Yeah, I forget, there's a quote from like 2015 or 14. One of the core developers talked about effectively, you would have unlimited demand for cheap, forever storage. That's not the right wording, but if you can put something on the blockchain and it's cheap to do it, you basically have a database that's like at a one-time fee that'll store that data forever. So like that, we need to be careful with that. So like philosophically, I understand, and I'm very adverse to the increase in op return in the core 30, but I don't understand the technical arguments that are coming from this side. And then when I also hear the technical argument, it seems that, and I haven't gone deep, admittedly, but I see technical argument and then followed kind of by like emotional outburst.
Yeah. So there's so many layers there, right? Like, and I could get into the technical stuff that I learned by getting into both group chats and talking to these guys. I could talk about like the characters that I came across in the process and all that stuff, and like my own opinion about their behavior. But like that doesn't matter as much. I think that the core side has been a little bit lazy in the way that they've gone about like explaining the idea of what they're going for. I think it's because they genuinely don't care what anybody thinks. I think that's part of what the BIP 110 side is irritated with, is the arrogance, and then there's arrogance coming from both sides, and the accusation of malicious behavior towards the other side on both sides. Then there's gaslighting on one side, and then there's like technical confusion on the other side. And here's what it comes down to, right? If Bitcoin cannot exist in a world full of self-interested morons, then it will not exist.
Touche. Good fucking point, dude.
Right. So I don't worry about it.
Good fucking point.
Because I think it can. It's like, I think that no matter how this August Flag Day happens, Bitcoin will survive. It might be a speed bump. People don't want NGD, they just want
NGD. I don't know why I've ever heard that, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard it either, but like people don't want that. And a lot of people won't admit to themselves that they don't want that. I've seen like this tremendous kind of postmodernist ideology come into Bitcoin recently where NGU is a bad thing. And it's weird to me because it's like, well, did you forget how you got here? I mean, it's
You heard Safe recently, like 6 months ago. I think it was with Danny and what Bitcoin did. He was, I don't know, they were in a unique location, conference maybe somewhere. And Saifedean was just like, really? And you can almost tell he was reluctant to say it. The only thing that matters is the price.
Fuck yeah, dude. The only thing that matters. Fucking Saifedean gets it. He's a rational, modern-minded human being. He understands the incentives, and that is that. The rest is like important, but it's not what's going to draw people in. If you understand human nature, it's just very basic. Now, simultaneously, right? And I talked to Robin Sayer about this recently. The dichotomy between Saifedean saying the only thing that matters is price, and then Jeff Booth saying if you're measuring Bitcoin in dollars, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, right? And I was like pissed. I was really grappling.
I know.
Yeah, they're both right. This is what I do basically. I take two things that seem completely contradictory. I figure out how they're both correct. So they're both correct. Measuring Bitcoin with dollars is retarded. There's an infinite number of dollars and there's 21 million Bitcoin. So how are you going to use a stretchy ruler to measure anything, right? So I'm measuring Bitcoin in gold now, and it makes way more sense to me. And I just don't worry about this shit. But NGU matters. We need to beat gold. We need to outperform gold on the 5-year, the 10-year, the 15-year, the 100-year. We need to. If we don't, then what's the point? You know, I think that means of exchange will come. I think that as people understand it, they will want to use it as a means of exchange. As long as we don't shut up about it, you know, there's Bitcoiners that actually care about this. I know they're in the minority now because everybody's like sucking Saylor's dick every day, and that's fine. Like, that's great. I hope it tastes
well, he took a big blow recently by retweeting some fucking DeFi protocol, an ERC20 DeFi protocol. They bought a bunch of Stretch. And so they're like I could be wrong about the details, but he tweeted some shit. I don't know. Anyways, Crowder's made a couple videos about it. There's a bunch of people kind of like, what the fuck, dude?
I have respect for Saylor. I do not. And I even like Saylor. Like his explanations were helpful to me at different points. I don't trust him at all. The whole point of Bitcoin is that you don't trust anybody. You don't have to trust anybody. You can choose to, right? I do understand the appeal of Stretch and all that. If it works, right? It's like brand new. And the last one, what was it called? STRY or something?
Strike? Oh, I don't know.
There's another one that didn't work. There's one that fell apart. And it seems like everybody has amnesia about that. But, you know, the financialization of the world is what Bitcoin is replacing. So going deeper into that rabbit hole, honestly, I just see it as a sort of a less shitty version of getting stuck in the shitcoin casino. It's like, you know how most people that got in pre-2015 got sucked into the shitcoin cycle. I did. Now people are getting sucked into the MSTR thing. It's not probably going to be as disastrous. It's still directionally correct. It's just, it's like, it's going to take them at least a cycle and a half to figure out that what they're doing is stupid and that they need to take self-custody, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them to figure it out.
Well, is Saylor just doing what he would naturally have to do on the mission that he's on? Could he be like totally benevolent and be playing the long game? Like I asked Robert, tons of questions when I first got there too. Like, you know, hey, what's up with Saylor? When's the last time you talked to him? Let's get him on the show, whatever, blah, blah, blah. One of the things he told me is apparently Robert was at Saylor's house a couple years ago. And Saylor told him, hey, stop speaking out against central banking.
Oh, Saylor said that?
To Robert. Robert.
Yeah, that was smart, actually. He said that early on. He said, you guys should not be going after dollars, go after gold. He was right about that.
Yeah, and so is Saylor lost the plot? I lean this way. I don't think he's lost the plot because anybody who's like gone deep on this stuff, like, fuck, dude, his first several hundred hours, right? I listened to all of them. Like, for the first couple of years, he hit the scene from the Saylor series all the way to like, I don't know, 2 years ago, all the Saylor podcasts. Almost everybody listened to all of them. So if you have that much exposure to the guy, you've heard him say all the things, talk about all the philosophical stances he sees and aligns with or whatever. and it makes it hard to think that he's a bad actor, right?
Mhm.
So whether he is or isn't, I don't know. I feel like someone in his position, if he was going to succeed, would have to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then that comment that, apparently he said that to Robert, so that indicates, okay, well, then he understands the fight that he's in. And if so, can you go further if you go on CNBC and you say, yeah, this is a crypto asset? Or do you go on CNBC and you say, no, this is Bitcoin. That's all shit coins and garbage. What's better for the overall mission to put the world onto a Bitcoin standard?
Right.
And has he opened like these little portals to suck all this capital? Is he sucking capital into Bitcoin? He is, but then at the same time, he's helping it's got this duality. It's centralizing all these coins. Then he's like now telling people like, oh, I'd fucking, buy my shit coin. Another Robert thing too. I asked Robert this too, right? One of the first conversations I ever had with him. What do you think about MSTR? It just, dude, flew out of his mouth. This was the most certain response ever. Like, it's just so much confidence or energy behind it. It's a shit coin. Like, I think he even turned around, walked away, and like filled up his cup, his drink or something. It's total shit coin.
It's a shit coin.
Like,
yeah, you're buying MSTR. You're buying Michael more Bitcoin. Like, why would you want to?
Yeah,
buy Michael more Bitcoin?
yeah.
You think you're going to outperform Bitcoin using MSTR? Maybe, but like a vast majority of people won't.
Well, that's a trade. You're trying to. Yeah, but still, isn't it? It's still a trade. Isn't the goal to get more Bitcoin? Or I guess I don't know. You can use.
I cannot tell you how often I come across a shitcoiner that tells me, "Yeah, I know Bitcoin's the best one. Do you own any? Zero." But their plan is to sell their shitcoins for Bitcoin later. Every fucking week, I meet somebody like this. It's constant.
So that brings up something that I was thinking about when you were talking about strategy, and like people are now playing that game more so than like the shitcoin game. The treasury company thing was like a thing last year. Everything is Bitcoin's pulling on everything. If you just look at everything and then just go a couple steps down, you got Bitcoin there. And so with shitcoins, the shitcoiners are trying to trade shitcoins to get Bitcoin. But with MSTR, it's at least tethered to Bitcoin. And then the core supporters and the David Bailey guys want to put more fucking stuff on top of Bitcoin. So once again, everything's about Bitcoin.
Yeah, dude.
You just think logically, it's all about Bitcoin. Why don't I just get that? Yeah. And like, I'm extremely risk adverse, dude. I can't, I'm not trying to figure out like what these earnings calls are and like, you know what I mean? Like, so you're going to trade this stuff. Like, I know a few people who have sold Bitcoin, bought MSTR, sold it like a year and a half ago, made some crazy return. And it's just like, that's too risky for me.
Right. I'm really glad there's people that can trade the market like that. I can't, I'm like the hodl guy from that original Bitcoin talk, Like,
yeah.
Good.
So,
good luck trading. Have a good time with that. But I just, while you were talking, I looked at hope.com, Saylor's site. He's still got Murray Rothbard, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Ludwig von Mises on his website. Dude, he's not stupid, but it's like, let's see what happens. I'm a big fan of observing things and not like jumping to conclusions, because it doesn't matter to me. It's like, I don't have to have an opinion about this, but if somebody does ask me what they should do, I tell them I don't own any MicroStrategy products and I never will. That's a big statement. Never is a big word, but like, I don't plan to,
Yeah. What, I asked Crater about this. Where is Saylor, Mallers, Dorsey? I guess Dorsey's funding core through OpenSats. But like Booth, actually I talked to Booth. Where are all the big players on this Core Knots BIP 110 thing? Like, you'd think it should
quiet, actually.
They've been quiet. Crater says, they all have, the influencers, the larger podcasts, they got sponsors and like blah, blah, blah. And I actually experienced that with Robert. I brought something up. I wanted to have someone on the show, and he's like, oh, he's been really outspoken against ordinals and Blockware's a sponsor. I don't know if that's a great fit, but you can do what you want. And I was like, fuck, that conflict of interest thing is real. I asked Booth, I was at a Bitcoin meetup a couple months back, 2 months ago or something. He was there. And Neek, I don't know, there's a lot of people there. And they were chatting, and I was trying to get in on the conversation with Booth, but I was chatting with some other people. It was too far. It was awkward. So at the very end, I only got a few minutes in there with him and a couple other people. I asked him, though, like, where are you at with 110? He gave me the most Boothian fucking answer ever, dude. Like, I'm
Proving
running
it.
knots. I've been public about that. We all have our own agency. I'm exercising mine to make a decision. At some point, I'll let everybody know. I was like, all right, okay, that makes sense, dude. Very
Yeah.
calm about it, but he understood. Like he's the thing, the nodes. You don't want to lose our nodes, so yeah, I don't know.
The game theory of node networking and miners is its own rabbit hole that is like fascinating, and that's really the reason Bitcoin works. And I tell people this all the time. I've been studying Bitcoin for 10 years, and I barely understand it. Truthfully, like I can see the economic theory of sound money and where the technology, like I understand BitTorrent, and that helped me to understand Bitcoin and why it's permissionless and can't be censored and all that. But like there's so much nuance that I don't think any one individual can actually wrap their head around it. And that's why there's so many differences of opinions, right? It's like the classic analogy of like five dudes, blind guys that are touching an elephant, and each one is describing it differently. And it's like, it's because none of them know it's an elephant. They can't see the whole picture.
Yeah,
Which is a feature, that's just the way the free market is.
that's well said. Yeah, so you're not concerned about the core knots thing anymore. You think it's going to sort itself out?
Not really. Yeah, I'm really like just in a popcorn mode right now. I am running knots, but it's more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just my what do they say? ODD, like oppositional defiant disorder or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I don't like arrogance. I like the underdogs, and I'm gonna like vote with the underdogs. But dude, at the end of the day, if there's a contentious fork, I'm just gonna sit and watch, like, because I am holding self custody. So it's like doesn't fucking matter to me which chain wins. Yeah, there's going to be confusion. People are going to send Bitcoin to the wrong addresses, and they're going to lose their coins forever. And these things are going to happen. And the exchanges are not going to know what to do, and blah, blah, blah. Do I think that either side is actually an existential threat to Bitcoin? No.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Aren't some of the core guys concerned that this is like a reckless, irrational, crazy response, and it could cause fucking problems? And isn't that concern also because there's a 110 is likely it sounds to me, I can't explain how it happens, but it seems to me that it can be basically imposed upon the network because it's a tightening of the consensus rules. So it could be imposed through whatever tactics or strategies. Kraters explained it, which would make sense. That is why some of the people who understand that and are adverse to it are a little bit fucking worried. Like, you guys are reckless. You're going to force this change that's going to wreck everything.
Yeah, they're working on their own soft fork on the core side. So basically the idea is when the fork begins, we don't want a reorg of transactions. So we want to make sure it's a clean break. So they're like,
so that would be a URSF, user resistant soft fork or something.
I believe so. The acronyms are elusive.
But so when you have a UASF, user activated soft fork, to combat it, you need a resistant version of that. So if that doesn't come, then whoever had that UASF imposes that change. To stop that from happening, you have to combat it with resistance.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what Core's doing right now. They're working on that.
That's my understanding. Yeah. From being in a fucking Telegram group chat. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The guys are funny, dude. The guys are funny on both sides. Like on one side, you've got a little bit more of like a 4chan energy, and then on the core side, like on the BIP 110 is big time 4chan energy, and then on the core side, it's more like Reddit energy, I would say.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But they're funny. They're both funny. I like both, like the people I've interacted with.
Yeah,
I was definitely more welcomed on the. Well, you know what? No, I wasn't really welcomed on either side, especially like bring up questions. Yeah, no, both sides were mean to me at different times in a relative sense. Like, oh, like one guy even made fun of me. He's like, oh no, like the mean Bitcoiner on the internet like wasn't nice to me or whatever. I was like, dude, I know all the memes, but like, is there a reason to be this unreasonable? It's like you can. But this guy, I guess he's been in the trenches fighting about this forever. Here's the thing, people. Bitcoin aside, people find opportunities to get upset in a very particular configuration based on their own trauma. I'm being oppressed. These people aren't playing the game that I want to play. We're going to go do this over here. It's like fucking Roger Ver in the Bitcoin Cash thing. People aren't listening to me. My opinion matters. It's like, yeah, okay, but like, does that mean you have to go and cause all this havoc, like with your charisma? I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Is it really necessary? I think that's why a lot of the big names have come out or have not come out and said anything. And this line of, if you're not saying anything, if you're silent, then you're complicit in this problem. I find that to be a very slippery argument. It's kind of like the silence is violence argument from the left about racism and all these other things. It's like, if you don't care about this niche microaggression that I care about, then you're a piece of shit, you know? And it's like, I have other priorities. What can I say? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, some people are fucking really concerned about this. I won't say any names, but I've been told a couple credible people, and then I know someone else personally who have like divested a little bit, dude. They're like, oh, fuck this kid.
Thanks for the sats. Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks for the sats. Fuck, huh?
Yeah, I heard about somebody who's been in, so, like, had thousands of coins, who's been in since 2013, and they sold out because, quote, they thought that Wall Street had captured Bitcoin. And I was like, well, you know what's going to certainly make sure that's the case? You selling your coins.
Yeah, yeah. Totally.
So it's, yeah.
Fuck. That's funny. That's a good, you know, Simon Dixon, I think, he's got my favorite. Did you listen to Dixon and Booth?
Yeah.
You did. Yeah. How would you distill that conversation down?
Oh, dude, Dixon is brilliant. And he's black-pilled because he worked inside the beast and he knows those people and how amoral they are. Booth hasn't worked inside finance as far as I know. And so he's coming to it with a fresher perspective, but he also just transcends all of Dixon's paranoia. And he like looks at it from first principles. And I think like I would move in the direction of Booth, even though like some of those considerations and concerns that Dixon has are very legitimate and they're true. And like there is like a cabal of people that are trying to control us and all that stuff, but we can make them irrelevant by taking our attention back and by doing things that are productive and building parallel systems, you know, and these things are in the works. Like I'm seeing it more on Nostr every day. There's like this FIPS network and the Reticulum network and like mesh networks that are being used to like bypass ISPs. And we've got the Zap store now. It's like an app store, but it's a Nostr enabled app store where you can like send Bitcoin through it and you can get all these apps on Android without using the Play Store. It's amazing what's been built in the last couple of years. Vast majority of people don't really know about it, but there's like more and more devs are converging on Nostr. And so like, I think there's going to be more synergy there. It's my hope.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. One of the things that I really admire about you is you're really good at asserting like this boundary with the world over your attention. Like, no, I'm not gonna fucking pay attention to that. I don't give a fuck. Like I've seen you do it like in real life, and then in the ways that you live your life. Like,
when did you see it? When did you see it in real life?
Oh, dude, just in like I don't know. I must have seen you like 5-10 times, like in varying degrees of like assertiveness. Just like completely like turn off in an exchange with another person, like, you know, shitcoiner, for example. You're like, that's like an more extreme version where you're like, oh yeah, I'm done, I can't do it. I don't know, like this happened with you and David, dude. I'm in Nashville, dude. So I'm in Nashville. Some dude comes up to me. He's like, oh, you're a legend. Like, I watched your videos. I fucking made you. He just blows glass. I made you this bong, dude. I knew you were going to be here. I made a bong and put a little thing in it for you. And I was hoping I was going to cross paths with you. So I see him the day before the conference starts at some like bar, some meetup thing. And he's in ordinals. And David just rips him for like an hour fucking straight. It was so uncomfortable. Then the next day we're somewhere else and some dude was chatting to me. It was a similar exchange. He wanted to chat with me. Like, you come in, he's a shitcoiner, dude. And you're like, he starts saying something about his shitcoin protocol. And you're like, yeah, it's a shitcoin. I'm out. Peace. And you just turn around and walk away, dude. And then I feel like I've seen little micro things like, you know, I don't know, in Vegas, you're like, I'm uninterested. You just completely you're like done. You sever the connection. There's no more energy exchange between you and whatever thing you're like have determined is you're not interested in. And
right.
And I admire that though, because I find myself getting stuck in exchanges where I'm like just being kind of polite and amiable. Probably childhood trauma, want to be accepted and loved and liked, you know, or whatever it is, of course.
Sure.
But yeah, I do admire that you, for your ability to do that. And like, you're not on X. Another example is you're not on X, you're on Nostr. Like, you know, like it's, and I think that that's real as fuck. Like I talked with my wife about this. Like, so we moved to Miami, Florida, and there's fucking mosquitoes, right? And she's pregnant, and last year, we're, you know, of course, we got this nice backyard and a swimming pool. I was living in the redwood fucking forest. It's 65 degrees all year long. Like, so I want to hang out outside. We're hanging out outside. Mosquitoes, dude. They're fucking biting the shit out of us. She's like, Bill Gates is dropping these mosquitoes. I'm watching her go through the process, and I have to ask myself logically as well, like, is this a real fucking concern? Am I getting some fucking weird GMO Bill Gates fucking juice in my system here over this thing? Yeah. But she had a more difficult time, like, not being sucked into that low vibe with the fear. It's like the energy around the thing that she's grappling with was like pulling her down. And yeah, so I've I just started to give her advice, like, look, I think the best way to combat that, if that's happening, is to not give a fuck energetically. And like, you know, so I think about those things, and you do a good job at just being like, you know, whatever, I could be fucked up over this thing or pay attention to this thing, but it doesn't serve me, dude. So yeah, I definitely admire that. You know, going back to the Booth Dixon thing, I feel like Dixon's an orange-pilled Whitney Webb. Like, he knows every fucking detail about all these evil people. If Whitney Webb understood Bitcoin like he does, they would be very similar. And then it's like, so Simon comes from this Whitney Webb-esque, like, black pill arena. They're just duking it out. I just visualize some major, like, little workspace with just fucking all the pins and strings and all the photos of all the evil people on the walls. And then Booth is coming out of, like, this Bitcoinized ayahuasca retreat. And he's just like, yeah, people have their agency. We're going to solve this. I'm not worried about this. If you're even thinking in dollars, if you're even thinking about your Bitcoin in dollars, you're the problem. And you're just like, that's almost too high level. It's too hard to grok. Simon Dixon's like, you know, basically you need to get Bitcoin, and otherwise you're probably eating bugs. Everyone's going to eat bugs. That's just how it's going to be. And it's like, yeah, there's this interesting, like, opposing extremes there, kind of, but they agree upon things. And so I just, lost my train of thought or something.
You know, as far as the your part of the problem thing, that is also, there's a reason that bothered me in particular, because Jeff is also famous for saying there's no they.
Yes.
Right. Which is a very deep spiritual understanding if you truly embody that. But saying there is no they and you are part of the problem doesn't go together. So it's like there's something to integrate there, you know. Ultimately, the mosquitoes, the shit coins, the node fight, whatever, none of this stuff is the cause of the frustration that we feel around it. There's something else there, right? It's like, I'm in a situation that I can't control, or something is after me and I can't stop it, or somebody wants something from me and I don't like it, or whatever. It's like some weird, very, very basic human dilemma. That
isn't it just resistance? It's just deep down resistance because you're scared. Yeah, I mean, because you can take action from a place, and I've been trying to do this in my life, and it's been very difficult because I have gotten really good at leveraging fear. Full stop. Like, I leverage fear to be productive and get things done. So I'm like, how do I come at a place where I have no fear around the outcome? So I'm not outcome dependent, but I'm taking action because I'm passionate upon it. Right. So I think isn't that the whole thing? We're all scared. You could go at this issue in the world and try to promote this change. you can do so in that way, I believe, where you could be like, this is what I believe in, but I'm okay. I'm not just saying it. Energetically, in my core, in my nervous system, I'm cool with no matter what happens.
Yeah, you can't fake it. Like you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that it? There's just not enough of that? Is that why everyone's all fucked up about basically everything all the time, everywhere?
Yeah,
if you could,
it's,
yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. It's addictions and allergies. It's craving and avoidance. It's all that. That's the whole dilemma. And it's so deep because obviously as a biological being, I have an avoidance of like really sharp objects moving quickly towards my body, or like falling off a cliff, or being burned alive or something. It's like all these things are things that I would prefer not to experience. But then on the flip side, like think about that monk in Vietnam that just like lit himself on fire. Like, dude, Rage Against the Machine. Who knows like what was going through his mind? But
yeah,
it's there's like a level of detachment that's more powerful than anything in the physical universe. That is actually unconditional love. That's what it is. So it's like being in love with the present moment and every aspect of it, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. That's the ticket right there, dude. You know, and
done.
Yeah, and when you can unlock that is when you then are like Neo and you can kind of control reality. And that's the paradox in it. You can literally have anything and everything or do whatever you want if you can truly detach from the desire to do so.
Yeah. If you don't want any control at all, that's when you get it all. It's the same with everything. It's like as soon as you don't care at all that Bitcoin goes up, it'll go up.
That's also this has been something deep for me too, because in 2017 in December I discovered Bitcoin. This chick, she was a stripper actually, that I had the short-term fucking toxic relationship with. Out in the hills, dude. I was out in the hills on my weed farm for a while. I was a hot stripper. I'm like, I'll hang out with this chick. This is gonna be wild. All right,
dude, from Tip Top?
No, but the Tip Top. That's the Tip Top in Humboldt County, dude. Have you heard Dave Chappelle talk about fucking? He's like, I don't know. He's talking about a strip club. He's like, oh, I was at this strip club. It was $2 lap dances. This isn't lipstick on the collar. This is shit streaks on your shirt, dude. No, I went to high school with her. And she grew up and got super hot, and she like was in love with me in high school because I was one of the more cool dudes. And yeah, so she reached back out to me or something. Yeah, on Facebook or something. I remember getting this random message. I was like, oh shit, oh wow, she's fucking hot as fuck, dude. Anyway, so she brought Bitcoin up to me, so I watched this 1 hour documentary.
This at the time, orange pill, dude.
Dude, you didn't know this? Yeah, so I was.
This is amazing,
dude. This chick, she was a year younger than me. In my senior year, so my parents were divorced, so I went to high school at my dad's 10th and 11th grade, but I grew up in Redlands, and I missed 2 years. So I went back to the group of friends that I grew up with for my senior year. Okay. And this girl, she sat behind me in first period, and I'd roll in after leaving my house early and doing loops in like the hills next to the country club in Redlands. We would drive loops and smoke weed, and then we would go to school. So she'd always let me know if I smelled like weed or like had lint on me, and she like picked the lint off of me or whatever. And she ended up at some party, and dude, she was like obsessed with me. It was like crazy, kind of weird, you know? Nice. And anyway, so she reached out to me many years later, and she's hot. And I'm like, oh, fuck, she's a stripper. And she's like, I'll come visit you. I'm like, oh, it sounds good. And so she had all these dudes in the Spearmint Rhino in Las Vegas.
Wow.
She worked at 11 in Miami, and Spearmint Rhino in Vegas. And so she had all these baller fucking crypto Bitcoin guys coming here. It was 17 grand. It was $17,000 at the time, dude. So she was getting rained on by all these Bitcoiners, or that were like
getting rained on in cash, or were they giving her Bitcoin?
Well, so she saw the price. This was during the price explosion in 2017. So she saw these Bitcoin. People had made a bunch of money in Bitcoin and crypto coming into the strip clubs.
Okay.
Then, so she had bought some Bitcoin. She had like a paper wallet. She had bought a coin for like 10 grand or something. So she started to understand it. Nice. And she was a really cool, she still is, really cool, interesting individual, outside the box thinker, very spiritual, all the things. So anyways, we watched this 1-hour documentary on it. I ate this massive load of cyanescence mushrooms a couple days later that were harvested from the dunes in Humboldt. Oh. And like when I eat mushrooms, I like to eat a large amount, 3, 4, 5, 6 grams. And I just kind of want to lay there and work it out for fucking however long, right? And so I take 4 grams of these cyanescence mushrooms, which apparently are strong as fuck, dude. And like, we had this crazy evening, and I was thinking about Bitcoin. I had this huge journey. I literally thought I died. I was like, dang, these are wild, poisonous mushrooms. And this, like, I'm fucking dying. I had this real death. I was like, I'd accept my death. I had like, my family's going to find me in my fucking farm. It was like a pinnacle moment for me in my life. High school dropout. You know, I'm fucking growing weed for years. Now I own this property. I'm literally a month away from receiving a license from the state of California, and I'm dead because I ate these poisonous mushrooms, right? And so, like, it was just very interesting.
Were you able to laugh about that at the time?
I was, and so it was. So I got up and realized, like, after like a while, I accepted the death after like 12 hours. It's like 8 in the morning now, and I'm like, fuck. I accepted the death, and then I just had this like relief. I felt light, and then it just clicked. I'm like, wait a second, I'm not dead. And then I was in this beautiful room overlooking this meadow on this 10-acre property I had outside of Fortuna. Beautiful. This is New Year's morning, by the way. And so I get up and fucking walk to the other side of the house where I had this view over another part of the property, and I'm wearing some like pajama bottoms, and I just was like, oh, I'm going to release this energy. I got to pee right now. And I'm like, I'm just going to piss myself. So I like piss myself standing there. And then I calmly take off the pants. I clean up the mess. I put it right in the laundry. And I was like, I'm glad I got that out of me. Like that was like a part of me is gone that was no longer serving me. I just had like the ego death. I guess it's the ego death or some form of it. And then, so now I got Bitcoin in the back of my head. And part of my mushroom trip was thinking about where I was at in my life. I'm watching the pound price go down rapidly because the supply is increasing relative to the demand. I'm locked up in this regulatory capture. I got fucking attorneys, biologists, engineers. Everybody's hitting me with $5,000, $10,000 bills to do all this stuff that I'm just like, fuck, it's this like nightmare of a roller coaster just trying to run a simple business. I'm trying to just grow a plant, dry it, trim it, and sell it to people to smoke it, dude. And like, and then so I got the Bitcoin thing. I'm like, oh fuck, this is for real. And when I watched that documentary a few days before the mushroom trip, it clicked. I'm like, oh, this could be a big deal. But then at that time, it's just like with everybody at first. As soon as you have the aha moment, you're like, oh, aha, but then it can't happen. They're gonna shut it down. So, but then I'm thinking about the supply and demand thing and whatever, and so that's what caused me to end up selling the farm and selling my house and putting the money into Bitcoin. Gosh, there was a point to all of that.
Oh, dude, I love the part about you pissing your pants. That was the best.
Ties it all in together. I forgot the point, but there was a point. I was going to tie that into everything.
Oh, dude, I think my understanding of Bitcoin came largely through mushrooms as well. And there's another guy, Christian Angermeyer in Germany. I think he was the first person I came across. There's an article, like an early article. It said something like, this billionaire like understood Bitcoin because of mushrooms. Apparently he's gotten involved in crypto stuff, but I'm sure he'll find his own way.
Yeah. Oh, this is what I was going to say. So I sell the property. Took me a year. I bought the property. I was permitted, licensed, and had already built out and pulled a crop in a year, which was like record time. So I was one of the first people to get a permit from Humboldt County, which was because my neighbor developed this coalition with people who lived in the city of Fortuna, because I was outside of the city in the sphere of influence. My greenhouses were 970 feet away from the city limits. And if you're within 1,000 feet, and I learned this after I had spent an enormous hundreds of thousands of dollars to like get my business, that I was in a sphere of influence and the city could actually fuck with me. So they were threatening to sue me and the county, and that kind of forced the county to make a decision to whether or not to permit me. And so I get this permit, and I was very conflicted because I get this permit, and the issuance of the permit literally just added $1 million to the equity of my property. Like, done. Between 1 to 1.5 million. So let's just say $1 million conservative. Bought this place for $650,000, 2 parcels, $450 for a house. Actually, it's now doubled without the permit just because of inflation. But
yeah.
So I get this permit, and I'm like, fuck. I could sell this thing right now. I got all these people working for me, and like they've been working for me for a while, and like, you know, I'm like, fuck, do I just sell this thing? These people need jobs. It's like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I should be able to make good money running this farm, but I'm thinking supply and demand, and now I got Bitcoin in my head, and I'm like, wait a second, like I understood what the naysayers were saying because I could make that mental model with more of an understanding of supply and demand dynamics and fiat currency. And so I'm just looking at this thing like this is not going to work out well, I don't think. So I decided to sell the property, which took me a year to do. So I ran it for 2 years, pulled 2 crops, sold the property, bought some Bitcoin. At the time too, I'm telling everyone, I'm like, I'm going to fucking sell this place. I'm going to put it all into Bitcoin. My dad and my accountant, dude, they're like, you are fucking crazy.
Intervention, yeah.
Dude, you are going to get this fat check. Both of them are like, I've never had a check that big at one time. Like, that could change your life, dude. You're going to get a fat check and you're just going to put it all into Bitcoin. You are fucking nuts. So I was like, oh, fuck, dude. These the 2 male figures in my life that were the most supportive of me.
Right.
And I'm like, ah, fuck. So that I decreased the amount that I bought initially because of that. And so I was like, ah, fuck. And so I bought some gold, bought some silver, and bought the Bitcoin. And then I took a year off, and then I did a fat consulting job in 2020, stacked more. Then I did this deal, which was the last greenhouse, you know, that I was running for 2.5 years. It was a consulting gig for 2.5 years. And I took that job because Bitcoin was cheap. I was like so ready to move. I was in a rental. I'm like, I want to get out of here. Like, I've done this. I've been here for 12 years or whatever, 13 years at the time. And so I take the job because I'm like, oh, Bitcoin's not $1 million. Like, I can still stack harder. So I did. And then, you know, I started pumping out the content. I did a couple podcasts, went to, you know, some conferences, and I'm like, fuck, dude, do I stop growing weed and start using my Bitcoin now? Like, fuck, that was a painful journey. And I kind of concluded in that process, a few things really helped me. I can get the sats back. Maybe I can't get the sats back because they've 10x or 100x or whatever. I get the spending power back.
You get the spending power back, yeah.
I can never get my time back.
Right.
And so then there's also something that's interesting about Bitcoin. If the goal is to be a net positive producer and stack in Bitcoin, and though you would hope to not ever need to use any of your Bitcoin, in some ways it kind of doesn't matter if you have it, which that's not really true because you're trying to like pass it to your kids, or maybe you want to burn the sats, or you want to donate them, or start something, you want to retire, you might need money at the end of your life. So you still do need Bitcoin, but I found that I was very attached. I had this attachment issue. I was like, I could just sit here in Humboldt County. I got some passive income because I got deals and things going on. I could basically pay my bills and fucking do nothing if I don't want to. I could start another business, which I'm not good at doing 2 things at one time. So I'm like, yeah, basically I could sit here and wait till my stack grows in terms of spending power. The business had changed. The pound price had dropped. I'm not going to play any of the games that you need to play to like scale up. I was looking at the time when I got permitted to get investors and bring capital on. I kind of flirted with the idea. I'm like, no, I don't want any of that shit. Now I understand, like Simon Dixon speaks to, like as soon as you get into the system, you're captured by the system. You fucking bring on shareholders. You're subordinate to your shareholders. Like there is this, it's the devil's bargain in some ways. And so, you know, I wasn't interested in any of that. I didn't want to continue to grow weed, but I could sit there and just tread water and hold on to my sats. Or should I just use this stuff and fucking live the life that I'm fucking like ready to go live? So that's been like I think Bitcoin does that to you for a lot of us. Like, what is really fucking important here?
Yes.
What is the point here? Like, obviously no one doesn't, I fucking hate the feeling of being broke or poor or limited in optionality or incapable of buying, I guess, what is $22 or $25 of raw butter. Like, I want raw butter. It's $25. Like, I guess I need that much to buy my butter. I'm not trying to take over the world, but it's fear, it's attachment. I don't want to be in that position of challenge. I don't want to have to eat the shitty food, do the shitty things or whatever. But the ironic thing is if you just are okay with that, if that's, it's not even that, and this is the thing that's really crazy. I'm not experiencing that, but I'm scared I'm going to, and that fear is like debilitating me, and it's a ball and chain, and it attributes to some of this deep underlying low level tightness. And I'm like, I'm really focused at this point in my life. How do I integrate all of this, let go of that attachment, that fear, and start to be able to really flourish and thrive? It's thriving and surviving. I want to thrive. I want to come at life from the place of I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm going to have a fantastic time, and I'm going to try to create things that I enjoy and love and feel passionate about.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
I'm
thinking about this all the time too. I mean, the what I'm referring to is the accumulation apex, is this point at which you're like, the amount of effort that I would have to put in to substantially increase my stack doesn't seem worth it, basically, is what it is. It's like,
yeah,
I would either have to sacrifice my reputation by scamming people or work really fucking hard to increase my stack by any significant amount. And at that point, you are, if you're paying attention, like if you can feel the shift, you are forced to reconceptualize what matters to you, like how you spend your time and how you don't. And that's worked for me is that I just don't do anything I don't want to do. So
yeah,
like if something really doesn't feel good, it's like, okay, yeah, there are things that are hard, but they're good for me, like going to the gym or whatever. Like those things, I don't always want to do it, but it's like, I know on a longer time preference perspective, it's a good thing for me to do. I will go do that because I enjoy the benefits of it. But then there's other things like, I don't know, just putting up with certain aspects of paperwork or dealing with people at organizations or whatever. I don't do that. I just, or you know, if I'm at a conference and I'm in a conversation that seems like it's going to go on for 10 minutes and like I'm not interested, then I just don't. It's not, no hard feelings. It's like, you know, I genuinely wish everybody the best, and I'm not wasting a second of my time on like crap that I don't enjoy, because that's just me allowing my vibration to decrease.
Basically. You know what? And here's a compliment to you. You do that without the flex that I think a lot of people who are good at asserting boundaries, there's a subtle, energetic flex where it's like, I'm going to sever this connection with this event, this person, this thing, and I'm going to do it kind of in a dick way and let you know that I'm better than you while I'm doing it. Yeah. You don't do that. For you, it's just 100% like, you know, hey, you know, it's like you said, like no hard feelings, but like I'm just going over here.
I really appreciate that. And honestly, I don't necessarily notice myself doing it anymore. It's like second nature. It's like breathing. And actually, I really pissed off TJ Miller, dude. I think you were standing there. We were in Vegas. I don't remember if you were nearby or not, but no, you were busy in Vegas. I was with somebody else. But anyway, yeah, I was talking to TJ Miller, you know, the comedian from Silicon Valley. And he was just bitching and moaning about some fan that had been like chatting him up. And he was like, I had to stand there and talk to him. And I was like, no, you didn't have to. And he looks at me like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have to. You could have ended that conversation at any point. Did he have a gun to your head? And even if he does, you still have a choice. Like you can call him off and walk away. Right? It's like you don't have to do anything. And this is something I got from Marshall Rosenberg. This is nonviolent communication. It's like there are no have-tos. There's only choices. And you might think you don't have a choice, but you always have a choice. You know, it's a hard pill to swallow when you realize you put yourself through hell. But you can always just die for your beliefs. That's another option. You know?
Yeah.
It's not always a good option, but it's not always a reasonable option. But I try to make my choices from a place of, you know, I'm doing this because this is going to enrich my life in X way.
Yeah.
You know? And when I notice myself doing stuff that isn't enriching my life, I'm like, is this really worth it? Is this trade-off valuable? Or like is there light at the end of the tunnel on this, or is this just shitty and I don't want to do it, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting, because I've also been grappling with I need to make some money. And like, I don't necessarily have to, I guess, right? Is that the thing? I don't have to, but I have a particular quality of life that I would like to maintain. You know, some goals. I want to make sure, you know, I can raise healthy children. I think a lot of that is like, you know, the social environments that they're around, you know, and I live in Miami now. After living in Humboldt County, I think Humboldt County is very rich in a lot of ways. And for a while there was a bunch of freedom-minded entrepreneurial people running around with enormous stacks of cash. But like economically, the place is like dried up. There's a heavy, ominous vibe. And so, you know, I thought a lot about like, okay, I need to get into a good environment. And being here in Miami, I'm like, oh shit, the people who have a lot of money are way more fun to be around. There's less problems, less trauma. They have nice shit. They go to nice places. They do nice things. No one's fretting over like, oh, we got to order food right now. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's nice. So, but there's something about, and I think this is fiat induced. It's not even fiat induced. This was the lack of a thermodynamically sound store of value. This is leakage. This is entropy. This is the state of our reality. You're forced to continue to exert energy to sustain whatever vehicle you're trying to preserve that saved up energy in, right? And so it's exacerbated heavily with this Keynesian economic model, but so many people are forced to figure out how to provide value to the marketplace to get paid. So it's not a clean exchange. I'm sure you have some sort of cool way of articulating what I'm grappling with here, but like, it's involuntary. That's it. Like, I think a lot about like, look, okay, so how, and I'm trying actually in this moment. Like, I'll put this video on YouTube and it's kind of like, fucking, does anyone give a fuck? Is it hubristic to be like, oh, I'm going to share my thing? But like, at the same time, I need to be doing something. And if I could cultivate a path in my life where I'm doing basically what I already do. Like, I have this fantasy, you know, I don't know if it's possible, but I guess and I'll even publicly say I'm going to give it a fucking try. Like, can I just figure out a way to share the things I'm doing in my life that I'm passionate about, and then somehow, some way that's valuable to other people, which I've got a glimpse of. You know, people have told me like, hey, I appreciate what you do. You're inspirational in your ways, which we all, you know, benefit from having relationships with people. But can I do that in a way where then I can sustain the quality of life that I would like? So I'm trying to do that, but in the meantime, I'm still grappling with like, there is still this forcing, this element where I feel forced, where it's involuntary to have to like go to the marketplace. And it's like, I don't want to go to the marketplace, find a problem to solve because I need the value in exchange. I want to go to the marketplace and help provide value in whatever way because I genuinely want to do it. Right. So when I think about all the ways that people make money and all the business opportunities that are available, and like I was on a different yacht with a birthday party with these couple nice families, and one of these guys is like, he's like fucking, he's I mean, they're like rentals, day trips, $3, $4, $5 grand to like take it out for the day. They bring 15 people and whatever, and so I don't know. Whoa, these aren't people. Hey. These aren't the Jeff Bezos yachts, but
right, Miami though. Dang, buddy. I go out on dunes around here, bud.
Yeah. Well, I go down Alligator Alley quite often and go out into the shooting range and shoot a bunch of guns. So I keep it balanced, I suppose. I fantasize about going out on some airboats and checking it. I haven't seen gators. I want to go see some fucking gators.
You seen a gator? Oh, okay.
No, I saw one in a zoo. I want to go see wild gators. Yeah. So I'm talking with this guy. This guy's like, hey, he's a business broker. And he just got his business broker's license, and all of this private capital, private equity is looking for like, how can they, you know, position their capital with this AI disruption. So SaaS is fucked, and like, oh, now guys, so this guy is literally trying to figure out how to consolidate and find a bunch of HVAC companies right now. Now,
right. Oh, dude, he did exploding, dude.
Yeah, but that's also, but look at that. So with that happening, you got all this capital. And you got the market going towards like, hey, we're going to provide HVAC services because it's going to be the least disruptible from AI. But what'll happen is the supply of HVAC companies is going to go up, bringing the value of the service down closer to its marginal cost of production. The supply satiates the demand. So then all that capital has to find a new place to go and a new place to go. And so it's that dynamic though. That's like, the last fucking thing I'm going to do is be like, yeah, I'm going to go consolidate some nursing homes. Nursing homes are a great model. I guess that's what Dan Pena used to talk about. Go find nursing homes. You get the owner carries, you buy a bunch of these nursing homes, and you sell them to some mega company.
Fucking Zero, that guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
So that, I see I see a lot of the marketplaces comprised of people who are it's economic activity because they're trying to extract value from the marketplace. Yeah. It's a backwards approach as opposed to like, I'm so pumped on this thing, or I identified a problem and I'm going to solve this problem because it's, you know, I'm passionate about it or it's valuable or whatever. The incentive structure is fucked. And so I'm personally going through that, and I've like, you know, do you sell the, so I look at my Bitcoin as a like a bet on the potential that I can create a life that I'm doing whatever the fuck I'm passionate about doing, and I don't have to do something I don't want to do for money, dude.
For sure, dude. I mean, I feel that totally, because I was doing something that was very lucrative, but it wasn't fulfilling to me. I was exhausted by it. I found it. I was looking down the line at the economic realities, and I just saw that it like wasn't going anywhere that was going to be pleasant. And so I just got out of it. But I was very fortunate to be able to do that. I also kept my living expenses really low.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
That's another thing that I admire.
you know?
I admire about you. You're financially intelligent. Yeah, you know.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know. It's just like I don't actually need that much to be happy. I really like art, as you can see behind me.
Yeah.
You know, but otherwise, I don't really spend a lot. Like I have a pretty regular car. I got a pretty regular house. I mean, by some standards, it's all very nice, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's middle class. Like, it's what I would imagine a proper middle class life to be, you know? It just that the middle class is gone now. There isn't really such a thing anymore. But to what you're saying earlier about the HVAC thing, data centers are the recipient of the Cantillionaire effect right now, or the Cantillon effect. Like, they're the data centers are getting mad, you know, just so many loans, so much cash getting thrown at this thing because it's like geopolitically, strategically important to our government and to our economy and everything. And so like the money that's going into data centers is like the epitome of fiat money. What is it going to do? It's going to accelerate the price of tomorrow thesis. So it's still just a waiting game, you know, and I wanted to position myself in a way where I could wait the longest. And meanwhile, like I am doing what I actually care about. I spend time helping friends, deepening relationships. Like I've started working with somebody on conceptualizing a citadel. We're not right in a position where we're going to do it, but like just starting to get our mind around it because the potential's coming, you know? And then like I'm writing a book, and you know, these are the things that I really care about. So I spend most of my days reading now still. Like,
what would you be doing if you were fucking had to if you were in a position where you were like, all right, I'm gonna fucking I gotta earn every dollar I spend this year because I'm gonna fucking I can't spend a single cent.
Fish canning in Alaska, dude.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, or trucker probably. Those are like some decent they're hardcore jobs, but like trucker you can still make like 80 to 130.
Yeah.
And like I mean, I have a master's degree, okay? So like I could be doing any number of things. I could be working at an executive level somewhere. Like I was kind of on track to be a VP of sales or a CEO by the time I was like 40. I'm 36 now. And I gave that up. I don't want it. Like I genuinely don't. I'd rather be a trucker. Yeah, because it's simple. It's like drive this shit from here to here. Perfect. I can do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved growing weed, dude. Like, and maybe, you know what, if we were on a Bitcoin standard and this was 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now or whatever, like maybe I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to
5 years from now.
yeah, you know, I'm just going to kind of grow this crop and sit here and fucking have my fucking family and homestead and whatever. But yeah, it's, yeah, I do like the simplicity of things. And I feel like the world has just become so unnecessarily, I guess it is necessary, but it's just become complicated. And it's just noisy, dude. The noise has actually been beneficial with the content. Dude, the content is crazy. The amount of stuff on Instagram, X, whatever, dude, it's insane. It's made me more present and tune out more. Like to what's happening. I'm like, I see posts about, oh, this place Israel just bombed this city. And then you're like, I don't even need to ask Grok. I go into the comments, Grok, is this true? No, this is fucking footage from this other place in the world from 2021. And I'm like, it's like, dude, it's just so much noise. I'm like, I don't fucking even. Just made me just focus on my little world, dude.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I really, when I hear people, well, okay, I'm not going to talk about anybody else. When I notice my own thoughts going into this place of, wow, everything is so fucked, right? Like, oh no, the world is crashing in on me. I look around in my room or in my backyard. Like right now I can hear the wind chimes outside. And I'm like, actually, It's not. It's a little warmer than I would like at the moment, but otherwise, like perfect. It's not warm right now. It's perfect here. It's like a great
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
what can I do in this moment to make things slightly better, right? It's the protopian movement. It's like, how do I make things marginally better every day? I could do some push-ups. I could read a book. I could call a friend I haven't talked to in a long time. I could deal with that thing that I haven't done in forever. I could bite a fork while I'm eating beef and chip a piece of my tooth off like I did the other day.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Have you had a blowout? When's the last blowout you had?
My last blowout?
I fought a blowout the other day. I fucking interviewed Matt on a Thursday, last Thursday. Friday, Friday I had shit going on. Saturday, I'm like, I'm just going to edit this thing. I got a whole plan. I've thought about my life and some of the things that I need to do way more than I've needed to think about it, right? So I'm going. This is well thought out. I'm getting frustrated and I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know how to edit. I ran my business on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of fucking paper with a pen for the last 18 years. I got spreadsheets, I got for a P&L, tax records, all this stuff. I've hired people to handle it all. I'm just not super proficient with this stuff. And so it's a 4-hour episode. So of course I watch a little YouTube. I'm asking ChatGPT, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I can't export this thing because the fucking timeline's more than 4 megabytes. I'm all pissed. I'm like, why would you even let me do it, Riverside, you motherfucker, with chat support? Like, why would you let me record and edit a 4-hour fucking episode and then not be able to export it, right? And so then I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to hire the editor that I actually brought this guy in. And he did the editing for Wim for the last 6 months. So I'm going to call this guy. And he's been following up with me because Wim's not doing much. Robert's not doing much content, so he needs work. So he's hitting me up a few days before this. And I'm like, fuck, I don't need this guy. And then I'm freaking out. I'm like, I need to hire this dude. So I call him. We work out a deal. He's going to edit this shit. And then I get a few revisions and some like a watermark and whatever. And there's some latency. It's the first time I've ever experienced latency with the guy. I've been working with him I worked with him for 6 months. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, I'm just going to do this myself, dude. And so this was 2 days ago, dude. I get on. I'm trying. I'm getting frustrated. My daughter's distracting me a little bit. I'm like, I'm doing my best, dude. Until like the middle of the day, I combated it, but I hit the line, dude. I was right at the wall of, I want to throw a tantrum right now, dude. And say a bunch of irrational shit. A bunch of shit I shouldn't say. This is stupid. I can't do, whatever. Like, I lived at that line for like 7 hours until like finally in the afternoon, dude. And I'm trying not to fuck the day up. This is a day before my wife's birthday, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going in. I was like, it's nighttime, put my kids to bed. And like, so in the afternoon, I gave up. Energetically gave up. I'm like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck, dude. This guy I could ask for more revisions. I could do it myself. I'll do it next week. It can come out in a week. Oh, fucking whatever. I don't care, dude. So I put my kids to bed, my wife, and it's like 8:30. I come out and I'm back at it. I'm like, but I'd let go of that resistance, that fucking whatever. I just like, all right, I'm going to continue to try, but I don't give a fuck anymore, dude. And I figured it out. I edited this bitch. I took it out in pieces from Riverside, put it into Final Cut Pro, edited it, made a watermark, put it in a trailer that a little ad my buddy sent me for Satoshi services. I'm like, yeah, fuck yes, put that in there. So I like put the whole thing together. I did it. I was like, oh, fucking A. But I was fighting it so hard, dude. At the wall, I was about to have a blowout, dude.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I don't know when my last blowout was, but the one that came up in my mind while you're saying that actually has to do with production schedules also. So when I was working in Austin, yeah, we were like trying to get a podcast out, but the thing is that the timeline was completely arbitrary. And of course, in your case, it is as well, unless you went out and promised to people, I'm going to have this episode out. It's like otherwise
nobody even knows I did it other than me and Matt.
Right. So the pressure is like, I don't want to insult the guest by waiting too long to publish, but the guests don't get upset. They're glad to be on your platform usually. Nobody's going to be like, oh, it took him 3 weeks to get it out. It's like, whatever. It's still going to be relevant. If it wasn't relevant, if it's not relevant after 3 weeks, why'd you even have the conversation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all self-imposed in a way, and at the same time, like the frustration of technology and all that stuff adding up, the pressure of that, like I'm stuck in this situation, everything is fucked, I can't get out. Where's the exit, right?
Yeah, dude. I get into Final Cut Pro and I'm like, I feel like I'm in the cockpit of an interdimensional spaceship, dude. With like what the is all this shit, dude? But then once I started to figure it out, I was like, dude, I was so excited. I was up till 2:30 in the morning. I like fucking got it on YouTube, got it all figured out, and I was just fucking pumped, dude. Yeah, it's blowouts though. Yeah, I watch my daughter do all the time. Just little 4-year-old dude. Just it's been interesting watching. You'll love having kids, dude. You're watching these little creatures work it out, and it takes you back to your childhood. As much as you want to like figure out why am I the way I am, I've done a lot of that. I think a lot of us do. And like, but when you're looking at your kid go through similar things, that there's it's not the apple never falls that far from the tree. So there's something similar there that they're doing that you used to do, and it just takes you down that memory lane, and it's very introspective, and yeah,
dude.
Yeah, well, you strike me as the guy who doesn't have blowouts very often. That's why I asked that question, dude.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I read this book about the Desert Fathers once, and one of them said, "Never let anger rise to the level of speech."
Yeah.
And like I do not follow that. I think that if you can follow that 100%. You'll never have problems anymore. It's like the 4 agreements. It's like impeccable with your word, and so I really try to notice the anger before it becomes overwhelming, let it rise up, feel whatever the feeling is, and just be curious about it. I've been kind of like working with IFS a little bit. Are you familiar with internal family systems? It's interesting, dude. It's like turns you into a multiple personality schizo. But like you're basically having these conversations with different aspects of yourself. And there's some parts of myself that like to rage out and get mad about stuff, and I respect those parts, and they're important because they help to protect me from like situations that would be harmful otherwise, right? So like anger,
they were protecting you. This is the way I think about it. I've developed, I think we all do this. We develop things that they help us. Let's say in our childhood, for example, it's too intense. You disassociate or you whatever. Then you embody these characteristics or these patterns, and they once served you, but now they're debilitating.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I tend to assume positive intent on all my parts and on all individuals I interact with. So it's like, they're still helping. They're just the way they are helping, the strategy behind their helping is not effective anymore. And so there's like a process of kind of like consulting, management, sort of counseling that I do like with myself, where I'm like, okay, I see that you're trying to do this. Is there another way this could be done? It's like a very collaborative kind of process. And I'll literally be standing in my kitchen talking to myself doing this. And it's like, if anybody were to see it, it would be completely insane. But man, it has actually helped to resolve a lot of things. And it's the kind of thing, I mean, when I look into therapeutic methods, I always look for the ones that don't require a paid professional to do it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's great. Paid professionals are awesome. There's no problem with that. But if you're continuously dependent upon some external person or factor for your happiness and your peace of mind, then you haven't actually integrated anything. It has to be an internal trip. Yeah. It's never about the other person, as Jeff likes to say.
Yeah. And you're also not hard on yourself, huh?
Yeah, dude. Like, I can be really.
Were you growing up? That's been something you've had to deal with, huh?
Dude, when I chipped my tooth, I got so mad, dude. It was such a stupid thing to do,
Yeah.
And I floss every day, and I put effort into not getting cavities, and then I chip my tooth on a fork. Like, how retarded is that? Like, that's the kind of thing that like a 4-year-old could do,
Yeah.
And so I was really mad, and I was judging myself for that. And then I was like, wait, this isn't helping at all. There's a Buddhist concept of the second arrow, which is like you get shot with an arrow, right? Let's say in the knee, and then that hurts a lot and it sucks. But then you get shot with a second arrow in the same location. It's like exponentially worse. And the second arrow is us judging ourselves for the mistake.
Ah, yeah. Oh man,
so good.
I'm never gonna forget that one. That is real good.
Yeah, dude. There's so many little things like that, you know, that I pick up in random books, and I want to get back to that. Right now, I'm reading about inflation and starting a commune. Those are the books I'm working on presently.
Getting armed with knowledge for your Citadel plans.
Yeah, I mean, like there isn't really, citadels don't really exist. There isn't like a book on how to start a kingdom or a castle. But there are books on communes and why communities thrive and why communities fail. So I'm reading those, and then I'm gonna incorporate my own insane right-wing psychedelic opinions on it.
I love it, dude. It's fantastic.
That's mostly a joke, but it's not at all. Also, like
yeah, man. Yeah, well, living the fucking good life, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it could be it could be better. Like, you know, we could be at 700K instead of 70K.
Yeah, dude. What's up with that? The number, so what is that?
NGD?
NGN, dude. Number go nowhere, dude. Fuck. Bro, I'm talking to my dad a couple months ago, and he's like, dude, why aren't you posting yet? What are you doing? Blah, you know, it's like, he's not hammering me, but it came out where like, yeah, well, you gotta start doing stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, in the same conversation, he's telling me, oh, my stock port, because I was Bitcoin, fuck, that's Bitcoin,
dude,
you know, and he's like, oh, my
right now.
He's like, my stocks are crushing. And he's like, you know, his wife, they've been together, I don't know, 15 years. She's a stem cell doctor. She owns a lot of real estate, and she's in and out of the stock market. And she's even tax loss harvested with Bitcoin. And so I remember in 2021, I'm fucking, dude, we're 60K a coin. I'm like, I won't shut up about Bitcoin. I'm down there for a week, dude. And to the point where my fucking stepmom asked me, could you please stop talking about Bitcoin? And so here we are, however many years later, and I'm on the phone with my dad, and he's like, yeah, Donna had me buy some Palantir a few years ago. It's up 1,900%. And I'm like, yeah, my Bitcoin's 72K. I was 60K 6 years ago, dude.
1,900%?
19x, dude.
Man, I mean, you know, yeah, the gains are appealing, but you're literally selling your soul to the devil. Like you're facilitating and financing the panopticon. Like
100%.
I mean,
yeah.
There I can see some kind of threads of potential where Palantir becomes the reason that nobody robs Bitcoiners, right? But like, I don't know if that's a good sustainable reality, you know?
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. So anyways, you're right about the fucking price. Like this is, you know, but you know what's interesting within all of that? The whole movement, the whole community, minus a few people I know that like took a small piece and like were scared. Scared that, you know, something could happen with core and knots that, you know, got a little gold or whatever they fucking did, right? Everyone is still on the mission.
Yeah.
Like I think people are discouraged, but like I'm not trying to figure out like, should I buy some Apple stock or like what? No, it's just like it's what it is, and that makes it religious, where it's like, Daddy Universe is telling you this is what you get, and you just have to accept it. it's like that's like God. This is what God's giving you, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's like when you're in traffic and there's two lanes and one's going really fast, and you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna get into that lane. It's gonna stop, and then it's gonna move, dude. It's like I'm not going into the stock market. I'm not gonna rotate into the stock market. None of my principles have changed. Nothing has changed about Bitcoin. The volatility on Bitcoin is a result of people not understanding it. It's not a result of the protocol being changed. Yeah, people are afraid of quantum and node fights and all this shit. It's gonna pass, dude. There was a time when I was concerned about there being too much mining in China. That dealt with itself, you know? It'll pass eventually. But you know, I was at the car wash the other day, and there was a smart kid at the kiosk, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to sign up for the subscription and whatever?" And for some reason, I liked the guy. He just seemed like a good guy. And I was like, what do you get out of it? Like if I sign up, you know? And he's like, I get $3. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go. You know, like I'll get, you know, it's pollen season. Let's do it. And so I signed up, and then right before I was about to leave, I was like, hey, what do you know about Bitcoin? And he's like, dude, honestly, this kid was probably 19. He's like, dude, honestly, I'm trying to learn everything I can right now and get as much as I can. Kid's busting his ass at the car wash. I was like,
and of course you drilled him about, are you buying shitcoins, or you didn't ask?
That was the first thing I said. I was like, yeah, dude, read everything you can, listen to podcasts, avoid the shitcoins. And he's like, what, like Shiba? I said, all of them, dude, all of them. Stay away from all the shitcoins, Bitcoin only. Like, go read books. And he's like, all right. And yeah, that was it. But it just, you know, the younger generations are going to get it. The boomers are like, quote, I'll be dead before this is my problem, or something like that, you know, like, oh, that's the next generation's thing or whatever. And they're right. You know, it's just, I'm not going to be a boomer's exit liquidity on their big ass house or their stock. Like, Bitcoin is the exit liquidity. If you're holding it, you are the exit liquidity. Don't fuck it up. You know, don't give in. And dude, the guilt trips. Oh, get ready, dude. I mean, people blaming Bitcoiners for the collapse. Oh,
Crowder's concerned about that. He's like, oh yeah, that's 6102 right there. Like that's one of the potentials. Like, hyperinflation, the Bitcoiners, and everyone's gonna be fucking poor and stuck. I mean, fucking tax those motherfuckers.
Right? Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're gonna try. Like, but by that time, the thing is that all our politicians are corrupted already. Bitcoin is the perfect money, the best money that's ever existed. I'll say, I don't use the word perfect anymore, because nothing's perfect except for the eternal love of the universe. And so it will corrupt the politicians also. Like, they're going to serve capital. They already serve capital. It's over, you know. But on a local level, on a regional level, yeah, it's going to matter a lot. So like, I hope that people kind of think about that in terms of who they talk to and where they spend their time and how armed they are. But you know, I don't worry about these things because they're all hypothetical until they happen, and it could take 20 years. I'm going to spend 20 years fucking worrying about this. You know, no. I just listened to the Dying of Money. No, it was When Money Dies. Is about the Weimar inflation. And what I realized in that book is like, we're not anywhere close a hyperinflation scenario, dude. People are eating their dogs. Like, shit was really bad before there were riots. That was Germany. It was more racially homogenous. There was less political turmoil at the time. Actually, no, there was a lot of political turmoil. There was leftists, there was right, there, you know, there was everything in between. But I don't know. I think there's going to be plenty of warning signs before things get really bad in that regard. What I would worry about more is like the digital ID, the government blocking people from using the internet without putting in their ID, like KYC internet access, basically. That would be pretty bad.
So I was talking with my buddy Michael Ruiz. He's down in El Salvador, and he was telling me about this guy that I know. We both know, mutual friend who lives in El Salvador, El Salvadorian citizen, who got arrested recently with a personal small amount of cannabis, has been in jail for 6 months and is facing 6 years. Okay. And then Bukele puts a speech out, and he's talking about basically, I forget the specifics, but he's gonna crack down and make the country safer. He's basically, petty theft is like the next thing. So he's gonna, you know, they need more policing. Not in those exact words, but the way he said it. He mentioned contraband and like it's a totalitarian thing. So you listen to that speech and you think, oh, okay, like Singapore and South America kind of makes sense. And then so I was chatting with him about it, and I've been thinking about this. If you're going to make a society safe, it needs to be a wealthy society. There needs to be enough wealth that they're not struggling and not stealing from each other, right? And the other way is just total control. And so
right
I think we're going that direction globally with Palantir, obviously. So speaking of tying this back to Palantir, that global control, right? Like you can't have a populace that's not fucked up and doing things to each other that they wouldn't otherwise be doing if there wasn't a lack of resources, right? So we're moving that direction. So, and you made that comment about like, well, investing in Palantir, maybe Palantir is the company that then helps protect the Bitcoiners in the future, keeps you guys secure. Is there, like, what do you think about that path moving forward? Like, it looks like it's going to get harder, and that's going to exacerbate the problem. And then you need more totalitarian clampdown or control to combat that. And in order to sustain that, you need more violation of property rights. So that's that feedback loop of we have to violate your property rights. Now your privacy rights fully to violate your property rights to sustain that loop, right? And so, and then meanwhile, we have the price of tomorrow thesis playing out, which is like exacerbating it. So do you spend any time at this point in your life like worried about it getting kind of crazy and how to like, because I feel like I have the conversation all the time of like, where do you go? Like my buddy's in El Salvador. He's like, and he's talking about buying some land and kind of like building a little community. Everyone's trying to figure. I asked Matt Cratter like years ago, the first time I met him, and this is Pacific Bitcoin 2023. Like, fuck, where can you go to hide what's likely to happen in the world? And he's like, I don't think that you can go anywhere. Maybe Siberia or Russia, but then what do you want to do? Live in a cabin in Alaska? Like,
I don't think running away from the bullies is the best option. Or it won't ultimately resolve the issue. What I would prefer to see personally is for the people who actually are paying attention and give a shit to network in such a way where we become more influential on the local scale, and then on the national scale, and then on the global scale. I'm talking about people like Snowden, Assange, Ross Ulbricht, Bitcoiners in general. Like, we have a real big issue with cooperating with each other and coordinating for activity. Yeah, we got Trump elected, whoop-de-doo. Like, we got Ross out, that is great, but like, has anything else positive come from that particular voting block coordinating that activity? There is like the Bitcoin Policy Institute, and there's Dennis Porter's been going around and like creating state laws that protect Bitcoin and self-custody and node running and that stuff. I think all that stuff's important. You know, we need more of that, in my opinion. But do I spend time worrying about it? Yeah, I mean, like when I realized the ubiquity of flock cameras, I started to get concerned about it. You know,
Yep.
they're actually really small and they're easy to spot. Just saying. So, you know, but yeah, like the walls are kind of closing in a lot of ways, but at the same time, like I'm using software. Like right now, I'm using Linux. You had no idea. My phone's running Graphene. You had no idea. We've been communicating, right? It's like it all works just fine. It does take another step of complexity, learning, and like taking your own sovereignty into your hands. Like it doesn't end at self-custody. I don't want a phone that spies on me, right? So like working with Graphene, spending time on Nostr and learning about these privacy tools. And there's people working on it and building it, because there's like a lot of people that I wouldn't say they're worried about it, but they're actively working on solutions. Like just follow what Gigi's doing. Listen to the No Solutions podcast. Like it's amazing what's taking place. As far as where I would go, I do have a place in mind. I have several places in mind, and I think I've told you some over the time we've known each other. I'm not going to say them on air because
yeah,
whatever. But like, there's lots of places close by that are easy to disappear, and there's lots of places far away that are easy to disappear in as well. So, you know, if I get the spidey sense that it's time to disappear, I just will. You know, I would prefer not to, but and I prefer to stay with my roots here and to stick it out. But if one side is willing to just throw all morality and law out the window, then, you know, I will too. So
yeah,
it is.
Like you know, it's hard for me to leave Humboldt, because that's a great place to be if there was an apocalyptic situation.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a nice little spread with well and a bunch of friends with a bunch of property in the woods, and you know, so I definitely felt safe there. But you know, right. I think you nailed it, dude. The walls are closing in, but at the same time, like there's a force pushing back against that that's equal and maybe even more powerful. It's like if you put your knee on a living a dog, a human, put a knee on the neck, the person's not going to stop trying to get out from under there until they're dead, right? So that force, so there's this pressure, this force on us trying to the knee on the neck, like you're never going to stop trying to get out of that.
Right.
And
Well,
so
some people do give up, but you know, that's a natural selection thing if you're into that.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of and here's the thing that I come across all the time. There's a lot of false consensus through social media. So there's a lot of people that most people believe a certain way, or they think a certain way. But then when you actually go out into the real world and you talk to people in certain circles, they're completely different from what you might have thought was the majority. And then on top of that, the majority does not matter. Historically speaking, big movements have never started from the majority. It's never like that. It's always a small minority of unreasonable, stubborn, retardedly stubborn, driven, principled people. The American Revolution was 3% of the population. It doesn't take that many people for us to be like, you know what? No, you know? It's like, actually, no. Rosa Parks quote, no.
Yeah, I saw something recently. This guy, he talks to an AI social media guy. Puts out some pretty interesting stuff. His AI was telling him about how the Revolutionary War was a psyop, and that the powers in Europe, basically Freemasons, all the important people had ties to these secret societies in Europe, and it was just an extension of.
It was just a way to destroy the monarchy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the historical dialectic unfolding. You know, there is no group of human beings on the planet that can stop the human spirit from emerging. It's just not. It doesn't matter how many there are, and how smart they are, and how much information they have. Like, yeah.
Well, with all that said, I think I've become much more positive. I've oscillated back and forth. I think so many of us.
Me too.
And I'm at the place now where I do believe there's a lot of ways this could all happen and not be crazy. I was chatting with Robert a couple weeks ago about AI. We had interviewed a guy, Dr. Roman Yomplowski. He thinks AI is going to kill us. He was on Diary of a CEO. He had 12 million views or something. Of course, it's clickbaity. It's dark. Robert and I had like a fucking bomb of an interview with him because we're just like, we couldn't, right? You know, Robert and I were both like, asking him like, so is this, you're trying to pick apart like, you know, this timeline that this guy's convinced is going to unfold, or however long, but AI is going to become sentient and it's going to kill us. And like the disruption is enormous in a lot of ways, but I feel like they stack on top of each other. Like when you had electricity, or you went to cars, or the elevator operator was pissed when there was little switchboards in there and people could do it themselves, but like it's an unlock. And Robert, I wish I could regurgitate what he said, but it was so good. And he's like, I'm not worried about the job loss I'm not worried about any of it. Like,
right.
You know? And so, yeah, kind of tying it all in here, I think no matter what happens, the goal would be is we just got to be okay with what happens.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck happens, is just got to be happy. And then I think if you can enter that state, it increases the likelihood significantly that things are just really awesome.
Yeah.
And so I you know, one of the things I can say, because I've thought long and hard about like what could I share with the world that has any value. There's a lot of, I don't want to be like an educator. I'm not going to go travel the world to try to interview fucking interesting guests or whatever. But what I can share is just a little positivity, I suppose, a little enthusiasm. And on the exploration, how do we figure out how to like be good with all of this and make it as good as we can and enjoy the process, right?
Yeah. You know, when you mention this guy that thinks that AI is going to destroy everything, I mean, it's easy to make that argument. Like I've seen Terminator, I've seen The Matrix, right? But like, I read Ted Kaczynski's book. I guess it could be referred to as the Unabomber Manifesto or Industrial Society and Its Future, I think is the proper title. But he had like a 170 IQ or something, 7 standard deviations above the average person.
Who did?
Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Okay.
He was building bombs out of wood and mailing them to CEOs of companies that were harming the environment. and creating computer systems, I believe, because he thought that technology and freedom were contradictory to each other. He thought this was a universal truth. It was an axiom that was not going to be disproven, could not be disproven. And he, with his massive intellect, had figured that out, and he could see the future, right? What that is somebody who thinks that they're like God, basically, that they have omniscience, that they can see into the future based on what's happening in the present. No single individual or group of individuals can do that. It's not possible. There's too many moving parts. There's too many variables.
Are we doing that with Bitcoin?
I think that some Bitcoiners are, like, some people that say that Bitcoin's inevitable. Yeah, I mean, you're assuming a lot there. Like, you're assuming other people think like you, for example, and it's just not always the case, you know? I think Bitcoiners have this real big issue of not meeting people where they're at, which is like, I can appreciate it in one sense. It's like, I'm glad that Bitcoiners are stubborn and paranoid and all these things. And at a certain point, what got you this far isn't going to get you to the next step, you know? Like, there's a place where you have to shift. So Ted was assuming that technology and freedom were antithetical to each other. So that's a Luddite argument. Bitcoin solves that, in my opinion. But of course, Ted Kaczynski using a typewriter was not any closer to discovering Bitcoin than like a caveman, basically. So there's things that we can't see. And like the Chinese guy who says that like Iran's going to do this and Israel's going to do that and whatever. Like, he also puts himself in a position. He's very bright. I like many of his thoughts and all this, but he says it in such a way where he thinks he can see the future. And I think that his recent popularity has made him even more bold about making these estimations, and people believe it, you know, and it's just not, we don't know, you know, like people go and they read Revelation in the New Testament and they're like, this is happening right now. It's good. People have been saying that for hundreds of years. You know, it's not necessarily meant to be interpreted literally, in my opinion, you know? So whatever source somebody thinks they have the answers to the future, is like, just sit back and watch. Cause like, once again, the wind chimes, the birds are chirping, like my dog is laying here chilling, you know, like it's all good. But it can be chaotic inside my mind. And if you believe in the Hermetic philosophy, that's Jeff Booth's game, then don't allow anything to go into your mind that's going to produce a future that you don't want to experience. Like Joe Dispenza says the same thing. Do not, what does he say? Like, don't consume media that portrays events you don't want to experience personally.
Yeah, that's big, dude.
Right. I fuck it up all the time. Like, I'm definitely going to play Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. For example, but like for the most part, I don't watch horror movies or like you know, stuff like that.
It's controlled micro dosing trauma to your nervous system.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there's benefit to that. I don't knock anybody for doing it, but you get off the hamster wheel and you're just like, okay, I don't need it. I don't need to debate this dumbass on the internet. You might not even be a person, you know. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to go out and I'm going to plant some plants in the ground and I'm going to eat the food that they make. And, you know, there's a lot of people doing that are very much more aligned with us, but they just don't go online. You know, there's tons of those people, tons and tons and more every day, more people that aren't watching the news, not using social media, opting out. You know, if we could get them to opt in to Bitcoin, that'd be cool. But it's going to take boots on the ground, so to speak. You know, like I'm always orange pilling, dude, everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Especially people like that.
Yeah. I've been doing less of that. I've been very inwardly focused with myself and my family, so I haven't necessarily been doing a lot of socializing or out and about that often. But yeah, it's just tough with the price. Tough with the price to go fucking just sing the gospel. I still believe it. I still do it. It's the best that I can, but you know, not the.
I hit directly on the fundamentals. I don't even talk about the price. If anything, if somebody asks me what the price of Bitcoin is, I say 16.25 ounces, dude.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and then you just blow their mind. You're like, no, I don't measure it in dollars. Are you retarded?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny, dude. Dropping little nuggets. So those are little tic tac sized time bombs to go off. If somebody's intellectually honest, dude, it's 6 months down the road, they could just be like, poop. Oh, that fucking one guy. He said that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it takes several touch points. You know how it is.
I do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you got jamming on this summer?
It looks like I'm gonna go to this retreat in Colorado. I'm gonna talk to Tim next week. And beyond that, there's another Bitcoin thing coming up in September that I'm looking forward to, but like not conferences. I think meetups are gonna outpace conferences. I'm more bullish on meetups than conferences right now.
I'd be really interested to know the stats for Bitcoin this year. Bitcoin Magazine this year versus last year.
I know it was less attendance. It still sounded like it was fun. There were a lot of people there that I really like that I would have loved to see, but I don't like Vegas. They're going to do it in Nashville next year. I'd consider going, but from what I'm hearing, they're in really bad financial shape, dude.
Bitcoin Magazine? Oh, yeah. Maybe we could start a little movement to boycott them, put them out, dude.
Boycott them? I mean, I've published 7 articles with them that I volunteered. I like those articles. I have nothing personally against David Bailey or any of those guys. I know
you don't have any problems with Naka and fucking...
I don't, honestly, you know what? The reason I don't have a problem with it probably is because I haven't looked into it that much. But I just don't, okay. I don't really care like what one guy does. They call it the Bitcoin conference. It's not very decentralized that way. You know, it's like they had Trump and the FBI guy, Kash Patel, on stage. It's like, I got screened by Secret Service twice at Bitcoin conferences. They definitely know I was there and like they facial scanned me and everything. It's like, dude, is that cypherpunk? Like, I'd rather go, I'd rather go to like there are more.
Oh, when you mean screens, just like not you particularly, but like when we were walking in to go see Trump speak, as an example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, but there's more and more regional Bitcoin meetup conferences happening, like more like Bush Bash style that are happening. And I think that's where the signal is going to be. That's where you build the parallel networks and the grassroots economy, and you meet people that have honey and raw milk and beef and bison and whatever, and then you know who to call, and then there's also Lab 484 in Austin that's working on mesh networks and like all this Web 5 stuff. Like there's cool shit happening. It's just not happening at the conferences,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, and then the retreat in Colorado, is that psilocybin? Have they
I'm not going to say
out any more details?
Something like that.
Yeah. Nice. Fuck, I want to go to that.
I know what the FOMO feels like, and this won't be the last one, so like do your family stuff,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's fucking pretty good, dude. Well, I think I got, let's see, 7% here on the laptop before we wrap this up.
Okay. Well, yeah, 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds.
Bammies, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So, we'll do this again sometime and fucking, man.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed the rip, dude.
For sure, yeah. We have these conversations all the time. We finally recorded one, so it's good.
I know, and that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, I'm going to try to do more of that. There's been this friction around it or some resistance that I've had. And so I'm at the point where I'm just going to lean in and just fucking, I don't know, do whatever.
Yeah. You want to stop the recording and then we'll chat a little more?
Yep, let's do it. All right, peace. If anybody listens, they definitely need to subscribe. I got 100 subs, bro. 100 subs in a day, dude.
Let's go.
I know. Fucking serious shit there, dude.